Welcome to the ZenRUN Podcast. I am so glad you're here. Each week we dive into the real, raw and often unexpected journeys of everyday runners. Because every runner has a story and every story has the power to inspire. If you've got a running story of your own, whether you're just lacing up for the first time or you're deep into your ultra journey, I'd love to hear it. Sharing your experience might be just the thing that someone else needs to get out the door. And hey, if you're looking for a bit of motivation or just want to keep your running fun and stress-free, check out ZenRUN. It's a relaxed space with guided runs, simple training plans, and monthly challenges to help you stay consistent without the pressure. All right, let's jump into this week's story. It's a good one. Today's episode of the podcast has been a long time coming. I'm finally sitting down with my friend and local legend, Melissa Clark. Melissa is a nurse, a mum of twins, a blueberry farmer, a triathlete, and a backyard ultra runner. And she's one of the most refreshing, honest humans I know. This is a proper wander through your life conversation. We talk running and triathlon training, strength, hormones, late night head torch runs, mum guilt, and being kinder to yourself. If you've ever thought, how does everyone else fit all this in? You're going to love this chat. All right, let's get into it. Today on the ZenRUN podcast, we are going to have a chat with a friend of mine who actually only lives down the road. I have been asking her to be on the podcast because we have a mutual, really good friend. Thank you, Holly. Mel Clark, welcome to finally coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, and sorry to put you off for so long.
It's like 2 years ago or something. I don't know, it was a long time ago.
It would have been pretty much 2 years ago, yes.
It was. It's crazy. And then we had to go do like a backyard ultra together where I probably, frankly, you spoke so much during that backyard ultra. I could hear your voice on every lap. And I guess that's the beauty of a backyard ultra is that nobody's ever very far away from you, irrelevant of who's doing, running fast or not.
True.
And especially that one.
The nature of the switchbacks on that format was you could hear and see everybody right across all the paddocks.
Totally.
Yes.
So we could have done the podcast out there which I think you did suggest.
Honestly, it would have been great. Like the wind, once the wind dropped out at certain times, it'd be perfect.
Exactly.
It's very atmospheric.
Very.
All the huffing and puffing and tripping over of everybody.
That's right, all of that. All right, before we get into that, let's go all the way back like we do on this podcast and find out a little bit about little Mel. Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Oh, well, I am a child of 3, so I have a twin sister and I have an older brother.
I didn't know
that. And I have twins myself now, keeping it in the family.
Are you identical or not identical yourself?
Non-identical, so that's the sort that runs in families.
So because you're obviously you've got a son and a daughter, so they're obviously not identical as well.
Thank you. The amount of questions I got when they were babies, and I would tell people, no, they're a boy and a girl, and then they would still ask, but are they identical? I had nothing left to say after that. But anyway, yes, I grew up in...
2 things to say about twins. One is they're supposed to skip a generation. 2 is, so you failed. 2 is,
Thank you.
2 is that I'm the only one of my 4 siblings who is not a twin. My mum had 2 sets of twins. One twin unfortunately died at birth, but she had 2, an identical and a non-identical set.
Wow.
Right after me, I'm the eldest. But yeah, anyway, so that was kind of freaky. The twin people thought she was interesting. So
that is very interesting. Yeah. So I grew up with a twin sister and an older brother, and we grew up in Lagana actually.
Just down the road.
Yeah, just down the road. Grew up in Lagana, and went to the local primary school and high school. I never did
Riverside
sports. Riverside. Never did team sports outside of school.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry for dobbing you in, Nick, but my brother did a lot of team sports. He did heaps of different stuff, but Rosie and I didn't do anything. We just tagged along, being annoying, I reckon. So yeah, we didn't do any organised sport outside of school. It wasn't until I was dating Dan and I'd moved out of home. I was about 19 and I joined the triathlon club because Daniel, my partner, his boss at the time, shout out to Ian Simo. He was the president of the Launceston Triathlon Club at the time. So I joined my first sporting club when I think I was probably 18 or 19. So I moved out of home as soon as I was old enough, and I joined the Launceston Triathlon Club and also joined Aussie Masters Swimming Club because all the triathlon people also swam at Aussie Masters. So I'm pretty sure I was 18 years old and part of Aussie Masters as the youngest master in the club.
I used to
in
think
Launceston.
at Masters running when I was 27 or 28 was hilarious. So I understand. Anyway,
yeah. So I felt very out of place, but I had such good friends, such good friends. So yeah, that was my first foray into a club sport. But I have been running since I was 12. So I don't remember why I started, but
do you remember
sort of our local?
Like it was a
yeah. So it was probably because I was training for the cross country, like school cross country, and 12 was the age where my parents said, "Okay, you're old enough to go for a run by yourself, like around the neighbourhood." And so from when I was 12 onwards, I'm pretty sure I have run consistently since then. I probably took a year off, and that was the longest I ever stopped running. Probably about when I moved out of home, I took about a year off, and then we got straight back into running and the triathlon club and all that kind of stuff. So and then I did cycling racing as well, because all that sort of stuff flows in together, doesn't it? Aussie Masters, triathlon club. And also the local bums on seats racing. Shout out to Peter Fraser and Molly Fraser. And the local sort of what do they call it when you have all the different grades of racing? A grade, B grade, C grade. Like I was probably in F grade.
Whatever.
Yeah, bike racing as well. Back in the day, that was through my early 20s. Yeah, we did a lot of triathlon and I wanted to do a Ironman before I had kids. That was my goal.
Did you do one?
Yeah. I did an Ironman in May. I did Port Macquarie Ironman in May of 2014, and then we bought the farm around that time as well, and then I had the twins the following March in 2015. So
wow.
Yeah, tick that off the bucket list. And
look at you, set a goal and off you go get it.
Yeah, Dan and I always knew we wanted to be young parents. Yeah. I mean, 24 is probably not that young, but I always thought you're never ever going to feel ready for kids, but we just wanted to jump in and rip that Band-Aid off. And so we bought the farm and had a couple of babies and then all the menagerie that came along with that as well. Practice jobs before that. Yep, chooks, cats.
So back to your childhood for a little bit. Your parents, were they very sporty, outdoorsy kind of people?
No, not at all. No, my dad liked sailing. He did quite a bit of sailing. He'd take us out on the yacht up and down the Tamar. But no, not sporty people. I think my dad liked watching the car racing on the weekends, and he was into his cars a lot. Not big sporty people. We didn't watch a lot of sport or any sport on TV either. We weren't a sporty sort of family growing up. But
interesting.
Yeah. But my brother, he got into cycling when he was a teenager, so I always saw Nick heading off on bike rides and whatnot. So we have Nick to thank for that, actually, probably. For getting into triathlon. I have thanked my brother for introducing us to cycling at a very, probably when I was 19 or 20, getting into the triathlon and the cycling.
So because my childhood and then my late teens, early 20s, that tended to be not so sports focused and more, how much could I party and how much could I, just ignore responsibilities and, being healthy and all of that. But and I would say 50-50, the people I have on the podcast are the same. You don't sound like you were because, that was when you were, I think I'll get into triathlons and I think I
think it was too much of the good girl in me. I think my father was a high school teacher and he was actually a teacher at my own high school. And so there was no wiggle room for stepping out of line. Both my sister and I were prefects at Riverside and straight A students. He taught MDT, like metalwork and design and stuff like that.
That's what I first studied at uni. I was going to be a woodwork and metalwork teacher, but then I became an infant teacher a long, long time ago, another lifetime.
Yeah. So I think because of that, my sister and I especially were always just striving to be straight A students, do well at school, do your best. My friends and I will love this. Our friendship group in high school were labelled the girls that don't go to parties.
Oh, that was you, was it?
Yeah, we were told, like, in later times, I don't know when, but we were told that our group was labelled the girls who don't go to parties. So, we just carried that, be a good girl, work hard, be sensible. I mean, I used to go out on the town a little bit, but really it only lasted probably a couple of years and then,
you settled down.
Yeah, we settled down. Yeah, there's only so many times you can be so hungover lying on the floor of your lounge room just wanting to die. But it would only happen a handful of times and maybe that makes me a fast learner. I don't know.
A quick start, a fast learner.
But also I was studying nursing at the time. So when I moved out of home, I took 1 year off to I don't know if students have it now, but a gap year.
Yep.
So a lot of people were taking a gap year.
They tried to, having children going between myself in recent years. They definitely tried to have a gap year.
Yeah, and it was incentivised by the government at the time. So you couldn't access you could access like a certain amount of money from the government once you took a gap year. And then entered uni, but you had to take a year off and earn over a certain amount of money for a year. Okay. But it was incentivized by the government that people take a break before they go to uni. So that's what I did. Yeah. And I worked at a backpacker hostel for a number of years. Yeah. And while I was studying, in Launceston, the Art House Backpacker Hostel. And cool. I'm sure, that's still going at the moment. But that was a great job because I had that job all the way through uni.
What did you do then?
I did everything there, including like painting the rooms in the off season. We did everything. I was a receptionist primarily, but during the middle of the day you cleaned the whole place. So it was a 3-story, I think 1888 the building was built, but just huge colonial style, old fashioned hotel, and we'd clean the whole place top to bottom by yourself, make all the beds, do all the washing, hang all the washing out, and then the next person would take over for the shift in the afternoon. So it was a lot of responsibility. There was only ever one staff member on premises usually, but it was a lot. And we had we had cleaners and stuff at different times, but a lot of it was it was a great job. It was the perfect job to have. You were just your own boss. You're the only person on premises for the whole day. Yeah. And so it was a wonderful thing for a young person.
Well, it sounds like a wonderful thing for a young person who was not known as a party animal, who was a good girl, to have such so responsibilities at 18.
So many missed opportunities. Yeah. So I had that job. I think I worked there for 4 years. So my gap year, and then I did nursing. Nursing I did for 3 years while I was studying. So that probably also helped me not be a party animal because I was a nurse. Actually, that's not true. Lots of nurses that party hard, but maybe it just helps you learn about the human body a bit more and try and help look after it. I don't know.
It surprised me how many nurses or medical professionals you would see standing outside the hospital smoking.
Oh, man, and carers at nursing homes, they shout out to those guys. You have the hardest jobs in the world. like the manual labor of being a carer in a nursing home. No wonder they chain smoke. I would probably too. But yeah, that's very true.
That's crazy. So, what made you decide you wanted to do nursing, and not like teaching?
An algorithm on a computer told me.
No.
Yes. I don't know if it's still true for students in year 11 or 12. You do this questionnaire online and you put all this information in, and then it spits out a list of like top 10 professions, and all of mine were like psychologist, counselor, support worker, and I think one of the top ones was registered nurse. I always wanted to be a vet growing up, like a veterinary surgeon. I always wanted that. And then my first job ever, I worked in a vet clinic for about 2 or 3 years from the age of 16, 17, 18. I worked in a I worked at a vet clinic in Lagana, the little vet clinic. And that turned me off being a vet surgeon. And because it's really, really tough.
It's
and
the
we
empathy.
know that with the mental health outcomes of veterinary surgeons, we understand why. And the vet nurses there said, Mel, don't become a vet nurse because there's no money in it. Become a people nurse. And so I was like, all right. And then with the algorithm on the thing so I became a people nurse.
People nurse.
A people nurse, because I started out as I was a veterinary nurse assistant for 3 years. So when I was a teenager, that's why I make the distinction. Then I became a people nurse. Yeah.
And once you started nursing, did you think this is the career for me? Like, has it been like that for you?
I think with nursing, I know that I'm really good at it because I've got the people skills. And if you've got the people skills, to help make people feel better and to motivate them to do life on that day and to get out of bed and get going. I think I know I'm really good at it, but, if I could have my time again, I'd probably be like a landscape guard, an architect or something like that. Yes, I probably would go back and restudy. But I'm really
that old.
I'm really
you
grateful.
Can still do whatever.
Yes.
I just want to add.
That's it. But I think it's probably like a lot of professions. You can be really good at something, but it can still wear you out. So I don't work a lot of days a week at the hospital. I'm usually only there 1 to 2 days a week at the moment at the hospital. And it's a very, very busy ward that I work on, and I've worked there for 14 years now.
What ward is it? You're able to tell us?
Someone going to come and cyber
Is that a secret?
No, it's not a secret. I work on 5A, which is a surgical ward.
Oh, yeah.
So we take care of a lot of people who've had a lot of cancers removed. So I can't do this on video, but just anything from your throat down to your asshole is what can get operated on, and things can get removed, and people end up with, bladders out or kidneys out or bowel and stomas and ileal conduits. So we take care of a lot of body fluids and a lot of plumbing, and look after some very sick people. So a lot of our patients bounce between ICU and back down to us on the ward, but we pick them up from theatre and look after them. So people who are really going through some of the worst things you'd never wish on anybody. And that, we'll get into it later, but that's a huge motivator for why it's so important to just go out and have fun and use your body, because you never know when that body is gonna throw a curveball. It could throw a curveball at you. So I do love the people I work with. I probably wouldn't say I love nursing because it is so tough, but I know that I'm good at my job and I can make a difference when I go in, and I can also make a big difference to the people I work with, because you're going to have fun if you're on shift with me. You're going to try and make it fun.
I think, you stored all that. I won't be a party girl during my school years, but I will save it for the rest of my life because I know people are going to need it. Considering, and I don't know if it's appropriate to say it now, going through your story, but, seeing that you did a cartwheel, which was like one of my tricks, by the way, which I haven't done one for about a year, and I'm worried about my wrists now. At the end of your backyard ultra of like 40 laps, like 40 yards, whatever, still entertaining people even at the very end of what?
Yeah, that's tradition. My cartwheel has always been a tradition all through my triathlon years. I think there was a picture on the front of the local newspaper one year of me doing a triathlon at the cartwheel at the Beauty Point Triathlon. And so from then on, one of the attendants at the hospital would call me Cartwheel, and he still calls me Cartwheel to this day.
Oh, that's so cute. I love it.
So, hello, Griff. Yeah. So he calls me Cartwheel because he just remembers that from probably 15 years ago. Yeah. Right. So that's tradition. That's tradition. Cartwheel is a tradition across all finish lines, no matter what place you come. A cartwheel is a celebration. But do I think sometimes that I'm just going to rip in half when I try and do one? Yes, absolutely. It's a scary moment at the end.
It's just like my wrist. And then I'm always surprised. It's like, oh, no, that was fun. Anyway.
There you go. I didn't know you were a fellow adult cartwheeler.
I quite like the beach because the beach is a bit forgiving on soft sand, doing it on the beach. Yeah. At least I think it is. Or really soft grass.
Because then you might come proper. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. And soft grass, like really nice grass is good too. Cushy grass. Anyway, I haven't attempted one in like concrete for a long time.
Oh.
I don't think I'll do that, bro. I need to practice. Anyway, I need to do some more strength work. All right. So how did you meet Dan? Like you stumbled over that earlier that you met him.
Oh, well.
Known each other a long time.
It's like half and half. Looking back in this, when we say about being a party girl, I met Dan out on the gym.
Of course you did.
So in my defense, though, this was before Tinder or anything. We didn't use dating apps then, I think. And, well, I certainly didn't. I didn't know if they existed. But I met him at Lonnie's. People in Launceston remember Lonnie's, the nightclub. And then he messaged me. So I was staying with friends. He messaged me the next morning just before probably lunchtime. So we partied hard, never stayed out very long, couldn't make it usually past like 1 a.m. That'd be me done. And then he messaged me before probably like lunchtime on the Sunday. And he was like, oh, hey, what are you up to today? And I just messaged back, oh, we're halfway up Dryers Bluff. So that was the sort of person that he was already meeting. And he, at that stage, still lived at home with mum and dad. And Dan was really good at computer games. He loved his gaming. And once we sort of buddied up, then, we got into the world of triathlon because of his boss, who he worked with at
buddied
Canalco.
up. So once you decided to go out, is that what you meant?
Once we started dating, and we moved in together. I moved out of home first, I think, and then he moved out of home and we lived in separate share houses, and then eventually that came together. And then we rented out near the uni for a couple of years together, and then we bought the little farm in Bridgenorth. So but through his boss at work, I think because I was still always running. Dan had done a lot of sports growing up. He'd done heaps of stuff, lots of athletics and soccer and stuff like that. He was still playing for Launceston United, I think, with the soccer when we met. Maybe I can't remember. It's so long ago.
Yes,
but Dan actually. If we go back to being like a good girl and always getting straight A's and the little prefect, Dan was also my first boyfriend. So,
and you've not had any time apart, have you?
No.
I don't know. You could have.
No, we haven't. No, we've been together ever since.
So sweet.
Yeah. So I was in year 12.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in year 12, I think. So I must have still been living at home, and then I moved out of home. Yeah. So. Wow. It's a long time ago, Michelle, because I'm 36 this year. So
such a baby. Yeah. I've got a 35-year-old. I could be your mother.
There you go. You could be.
I think maybe he's 33. Maybe I just gave him 2 years. Anyway.
Well, I'm turning 37 this year, so I am 36 at the moment.
Wow.
times. But yeah, Dan was my first boyfriend. We've been together ever since. And yeah,
I turned 56 this year, so I'm still 20. So I could have, so I'm still 20 years older than you, so it could have been your mum. There you go.
In my defense regarding meeting boys at nightclubs, he was a known entity though, because as soon as I saw him, I said, "Are you Helen and Rob's son?" And he's like, "Yeah." So, or he messaged me his full name, and I was like, "Are you Helen and Rob's son?" So our family said that had actually known each other way back when our mums went to school together, and our families had known each other growing up, but had lost touch sort of through the teenage years. So I don't remember hanging out with him or his family, but I knew that our parents were quite good friends when they were younger. So
Tasmania.
Yeah. Tasmania. Yeah.
It's meant to be. So what made you guys want to buy a farm and not just a house? Like, what is it about you two that says I want to space around?
That came from me. I always wanted space. I always wanted land. I was animal obsessed. I always knew I wanted lots of space and I wanted lots of animals. Yeah. And riding up Bridgenorth Road a couple of times. I remember the first time I ever rode my bike up Bridgenorth Road with a bunch. It would have been leaving Launceston, like the Margaret Street bunch one morning, I reckon. We rode up Bridgenorth Road. I've never been up there on a bike. Don't really remember it from when I was a kid. And I just thought this place is gorgeous and I love this. Oh. And, a few years later, friends of ours were selling their little farm there and they said, "We know you guys have been interested in the Bridgenorth area. Would you like to come and tell us what you think of the farm, because we're going to put it on the market?" And it never went on the market because we bought it from them. So we didn't tell anybody. We didn't tell our family or our friends. We just kept it real quiet, and I didn't want anyone's opinions on our tiny asbestos-riddled, ramshackle shit house with loads of blackberries and barbed wire fences. And we did it, and we didn't tell anyone until it had all gone through. I did my Ironman. We went traveling in Vietnam, and by the time we got home, it was all sorted. All the paperwork was finally through, and we told people. And then all the opinions came in of all the grandparents and in-laws, and they're like, "Well, what have you done? What are you going to do with all this land? You don't know anything about this."
So how much land is it?
We have 60 acres.
Excellent.
Yeah, which is not a huge farm. It's more of a hobby farm. Yeah. Size. Yes.
We've got 20 and we think that's plenty. We don't keep that under control anywhere near as much as what you guys. Animals help keep it under control, but half of it is bush and then half of it is paddock. So we've got a few cows, and the mobile butcher comes every year and we put a few cows in the deep freezer. Well, we put one cow in the deep freezer and the rest go to family and friends. And we've got bees and chooks and ducks and all the things that go along with a bit of space, and a lot of blueberries now. Yes, you have a blueberry farm. So, we've skipped around your life a little bit more than I would normally do. Like, we haven't gone quite as we've gone.
You want to go back? We can rewind.
Oh, fine. It's all good. No, it's fine. But it sounds like you're not very good at staying still at all. Because I come from a farm on King Island. That's where I grew up, on a farm. And I always said to my mum, she wasn't married we lived on my grandfather's farm. I was never going to marry a farmer because it's just so weather reliant and there's just always so much work to do. I just wanted to read my book, and they were always trying to get me to go outside and get on the horse and help with the cattle. Or go to the garden and do something with the guy who anyway, there's always stuff to do. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. But it's like you run towards that kind of opportunity and you've turned it into something pretty amazing while still having a career, the both of you, and a couple of kids, and throw all the animals in it as well. So and doing triathlons at some point as well. See, how many hours do you have in your day? Like, I have 24, but I feel like you might have a few more.
I don't know. I always say I wish there was more of me. I wish there was 3 of me. I would have athlete me and mum me and farmer me and nurse me. And I wish. We can't wish ourselves to be split into different people, but Yeah, there's not enough hours in the day.
Yeah.
Absolutely not enough. Yeah, I don't know why I'm like that. Just I like things. I like to transform things. So I like to work towards projects, even especially in the garden, where you're working towards something, you're building something and creating something. And I distinctly get the image in my head of what I want, and then I work towards that thing. And later in life, I really understand that if you hold on to that image very tightly, then generally you'll get there. And it's the same with if you're looking for something. And I know this sounds very silly, but
no, it sounds like manifesting.
If you need to find, this is the perfect example for my running ladies out there. I sent this to a friend the other day. I'm just holding up for the camera. This is a hairband that I found yesterday on the ground along the foreshore track. So I left the house
in
early in St. Helens, and I forgot to braid my hair ponytail, and I have a lot of hair at the moment, and it was annoying the crap out of me, and it was blowing around, and I thought to myself, oh, I wish I might find a hairband down here on this busy trail. And literally within 2 minutes, I looked down on the gravel and there was a hairband, and I just stopped and I took a photo of it and I sent it to my friend, and I was like, this is running. This is what running does for us. Is it just has this power.
I take them with me, like, see, they're on my wrist.
Normally they're all over the wrist, but yeah. And I think that's when you hold on to an idea. If you've got an idea in your head and you love it, don't dismiss it. Just if you keep thinking about it for long enough and making those baby steps towards it, you'll get that. Yeah, you'll get it. Whatever it is.
Lots of examples of that in your life, because, little baby blueberry farms, for example, don't just grow themselves.
No, they certainly don't. No, they don't. Yeah.
Did you say it was 7 years ago?
Yes, that was when I first contacted. Yeah, 7 years. Yeah.
And so this is the first year you've been able to have someone or have people come in and pick.
Have people come to pick. Yeah, it's a pick your own blueberry farm, and we have nearly 2,000 plants. And we would have had fruit to sell last year, but the birds ate it all. We didn't know how we would go with birds, but we then obviously quickly learned that we would have to net the whole property. Some farms don't, but for our part of the world, it was evident that we needed to net. So we spent 6 months building them ourselves. Wow. And physically and probably mentally, that's the toughest thing Dan and I have ever undertaken is trying to figure out. He did all the engineering of it and the figuring out, because there's no YouTube videos about how to net 2 hectares, 2 acres, I think, of blueberries. So yeah, and it's when Dan designs something or does anything, it's really well done. It's not. We won't say it's not a perfectionist trait. It's like a black and white trait. For him, so he does it correctly, and the netting just looks fabulous. So that's why we could open to the public this year. But that nearly killed us physically and mentally. That nearly killed us trying to do that ourselves, DIY everything. We had some help from family and friends on a few of the days, but we put everyone off. We just told them we don't know what we're doing, so we can't have people here telling you what to do because we don't know what we're doing. So let us figure it out, and then we'll let you know if you can come and help. So. Wow. Yeah, and our local community has been so supportive. All of our neighbours around the local area have been so supportive, which has been fabulous as well. So, yeah, so it was sort of, we have all this land. What are we going to do with it? Yeah.
Being able to reduce your hours at work, and have this hobby farm has worked for you. Like having a career where you don't have to be 9 to 5 Monday to Friday.
You can pick and choose how much or how little you want to work. We do have another small business which is coming up to 9 years old. Okay. So that's an online business, and that's operated from home. And so a lot of my hours during the day when the kids are at school will be a few hours doing parcels up and packages up. And answering emails and whatnot. And Dan works on that business every night after work, And when the kids were little, we'd have to get all the bits out when they went to bed. But yeah, It's such a weird thing to explain to even my co-workers at the hospital. We make automatic chicken doors.
Oh.
It's called Coop Secure, and we make automatic chicken doors. And I know that sounds insane, but if you're a chicken owner, you'll understand what they're for.
We have chickens. We have eggs falling out of the fridge right now. But
there you go. So we're just an online business. We don't advertise.
Wow.
We took it to AgFest for the first time last year, and we had a wonderful time at AgFest. For people in the rest of Australia who don't know what AgFest is, it's like the biggest agricultural show in the Southern Hemisphere, I think, and it goes for 3 or 4 days. And we took the business to AgFest last year, so that was a big deal for us. We took some chickens along and set up the business there. And, so there's not enough hours in the day because Dan and I both love to run. I love to swim still. I wish there was more time to ride my bike. But yeah, that business has funneled into the Blueberry business.
Oh, that's amazing.
So one business has paid for the other business. So we've been then trying to balance both businesses and our lives.
And you both have careers. It's not like...
Yes, Dan's an electrician.
Yeah, exactly. And you're a nurse, so...
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
I'm just breathing for you.
Yeah, I know.
I will put a link, if you're happy for me to your Coop business as well.
Coop Secure, yeah.
Yeah. You have to send me the link and I'll put it in the show notes because you never know. I'm sure there are other owners like me who are listening.
Yeah. If you need one, then once it becomes apparent that you need one, then people just somehow find us on our website. So it just spreads organically, like the blueberry farm. It will just grow organically through word of mouth. It usually doesn't take much advertising. Once you've got something good, then word of mouth just takes care of itself. So we've never pushed that business very hard at all, and it's sometimes it's been too much, so we don't want to advertise.
Set back a bit. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Oh,
so when my nurses at work, I don't know what they think. I think sometimes I'm just like, not that this is a thing, but just a mum, like at home doing the mum thing during the week, because I mostly work on the weekends at the hospital. Like, I'm not just doing that. I'm doing so many other things.
Oh, my God. And I'm thinking you work on the weekends because you're not the party animal, so you're not going out on the weekends.
No, there was none of that.
No. And because of the bit where you do work in the hospital, you're not necessarily cleaning up after everybody else who goes out on the weekends, like an emergency when people...
No.
It's a bit busy because when people have gone out.
I don't think I can handle that sort of stress.
Actually, I've had a few runners who work in emergency on the podcast.
Yes.
Not just here, but in the rest of Australia. And
Yes. Right. No, shout out to all the nurses out there. I know why you run. I know.
All right. Let's scoot back a little bit and tell me, like, you've described a really busy life and it's like your life has always been like that.
Yeah.
How, like, it would be really easy. I can imagine myself going, I just can't run today. Or I can't train, like when you were doing triathlons, I can't train for 3 sports. That's one of the reasons I haven't done triathlons, even though I was always going to. 3 disciplines to train for.
Yes.
I just went, I just can't do it. Is it the fact, and obviously you have an answer for that, being that it supports all those other things? Like if you didn't run, like I often would say, if I didn't run, I wouldn't be able to keep up with my 5 children and run the 3 businesses we have run over the years, concurrently.
Yeah.
But can you remember, like, there must have been times in your life where it's like, going out and training has to take a back step because otherwise all these other important activities are not going to get done because I filled up my life up with stuff. So how do you slot it in? What is a crazy life?
So I would backflip that thought. And what I have found in recent years is that if I put training on the back burner, then I'm not as good in all the other areas. So when I neglect putting myself first for training, and this, speaking to all those mums and women out there who are trying to do everything for everybody else, when I put myself last behind the farm work, the business work, the kids, the groceries, the house, if I don't prioritise myself first, which is very easy to do, and we all slip into that trap, I think, then then everything else starts to get worse. You're not as patient. You're not, for myself, this is speaking for myself, I'm not as fun as I normally would be. I'm not as easygoing. I lose my patience. Then all the negative thoughts start creeping in, and you get more flustered and you get more stressed. But then I realized, like, you know, it's been 3 days since I've been for a run. This is why life feels so hard, because I haven't been for a run. So I used to say to the Triathlon Club many years ago that, and I don't mind saying this because I work in healthcare, if I didn't run, I'd probably have to be medicated.
Yeah.
Because I'd be miserable. I'd be absolutely miserable. And that comes back to moving your body in any way. So if I wasn't cycling or swimming or running, then, yeah, I definitely think I would have to be medicated because I'd be absolutely miserable. But, yeah, so I think you have to prioritize it, especially if you're that type of personality, because we're all different personalities. And, yes, people who meet me think, oh, she must have ADHD, and I don't think so. I've Googled the symptoms, ladies. I don't think so. Because I get everything done. Yeah. I plow through my jobs as fast as I can, doing them as well as I can, and always telling myself close enough is good enough. Just get that done, whatever it may be. And I saw a guy he was berating himself because he was trying to get fit. He put a video out on the internet the other day and just said he couldn't believe that he'd only done like 5,000 steps, but he'd been walking for an hour or something. And he was so annoyed and angry at himself that he thought it should be 10,000 steps for walking for an hour. And I think if we all think like that, then you're never going to get anywhere. What you should be doing always is patting yourself on the back and saying, you got out for an hour. That's amazing. Congratulations. You went out and exercised for an hour. Like, change the story. Yeah. Talk to yourself differently. Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes the metrics can be bad for us, like focusing too much on those kind of metrics that he was focusing on.
Yes.
You know, it's different to say I'm going to go out for a half an hour or an hour or whatever than it is to quantify that into a distance or a speed.
Right.
And that can cause some real trouble like he was having.
And so touching on that thought, Michelle, is I never usually focus on data ever. I've never been data-centric, if that's even a term. But, I mean, I have a smartwatch that has all the bells and whistles, but Dan only got that for me probably 8 months ago. Before that, I just had the standard Garmin that it was secondhand, that just told, like the Garmin Forerunner, the early days. All it did was told you how far and how fast. That's it. Yeah. And that was fine. This one, I've disabled all the stuff where people can contact me and call me and text me and all that sort of stuff.
I've done that too.
I don't focus on the data because I have always run by feel and headed out. And some days things feel really, really hard. And just keep going. Just keep pushing through that. And I know after I did triathlon for probably, 10 plus years. And I know that you may feel shitty and crappy in your body for months and months and months, but then you'll get like a golden day where you just feel like you can fly. And they're the days to hold on to. And you can only know that, I think, if you've been exercising for a really long time. You know that a lot of the time you're going to feel tired, you're going to feel sore in your head, you're going to be asking yourself, why? All the whys. Why does it hurt? Why am I so slow today?
Why am I tired?
Why am I tired? Yeah. Why am I doing this? But then you hold out for those times where you get the perfect run or the perfect bike ride and it just feels amazing. And you take those moments to be like, oh, this is what life is about. This is what I should be doing. You know, the birds are singing, the sun's coming up, the temperature is just perfect. Yeah. You've all caffeinated up.
They're the moments we look out for. Why did you quit?
Yeah, exactly.
Why did you quit triathlon?
I wouldn't say
you haven't quit. Why?
No, I wouldn't say I quit. There's actually a triathlon here on Sunday, which coincidentally we didn't know was on, but I have raced it a few times before. But I've already Googled like the race entry and do I need a 1-day license? Because the last triathlon I did would have been Coles Bay 2 years ago. So I haven't actually been out of it that long. I did triathlon all through the kids' like younger years. I was doing triathlon. I only took maybe 2 years out when I was pregnant and when they were about 1 year, like to a 1 year old, and then I got back into triathlon. So I've been doing triathlon all through up until I think just the Blueberry farm got too busy. Like, it's too much work physically and like to take weekends off going around the state to different triathlons. But no, I mean, I'd love to do another Ironman one day, but that's just on, in the back of my head sort of there. I mean, I love it. I love swimming and I love bike riding.
Did you say
probably bike riding is my favorite.
Which Ironman did you do? I didn't.
Port Macquarie.
Port
Mac. Yeah.
Very cool.
So,
I think.
Yeah, and so I wouldn't say I quit triathlon.
No, I just said it like that. I just realised.
I still have my suits. I still have my wetsuits. I fit into all of them. My bike is still there. My bike is 15 years old.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then you're not a serious triathlete. I don't know. That's all about the gear. It's all about the
first thing I buy, I think, when I'm
when you're a blueberry millionaire.
When I'm blueberry rich, one of the first things I'm going to buy is a brand new road bike, I think. But or secondhand. But I still love bike riding, especially. I'm a fair weather rider though. You won't catch me in like 5-degree Tassie weather suiting up to head out on the icy roads. I'm a fair weather rider now.
Do you have like a wind trainer or do you have an ability to train at home without going?
Yeah, well, I have rollers. I actually trained heaps on rollers and a wind trainer, but mostly on rollers, which is good for your balance. But farm life has definitely taken over. Every waking minute has been trying to finish the Blueberry farm off. So trail running fits in. Running from the house up into the bush around us fits in. It's a lot of time to head to a pool or even just get your bike ready and put all your gear on and head for a bike ride. Yeah. It's not as quick and efficient as going for a run. So running is where we have landed the last, I don't even know how long, 10 years. We've been doing a lot of trail running. Yeah. Along with triathlon, we do a lot of trail running in Tassie. So it's mostly because of having young kids. Yeah. Running works for Daniel and I. Running fits in and trail running fits in because we live where we live. There's gravel roads and there's bush trails, so that's what we use. Yeah.
How big is your trail near your place? Like, what
are the we can sort of go easily 5 kilometres in one direction through the bush, and so I have a 7-kilometre loop from my house that's perfect. I can also make that a 6.5 kilometre out and back, or I can do an 11-kilometre loop. Yeah. Or I can have a 12-kilometre out and back. Okay. Like, we know all the trails in our local area, and I know roughly how long they're going to take to be able to fit them into the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's great.
Yeah. We're very privileged. Very privileged.
You are. You're very lucky. I go out the door and I've got Brady's Lookout Road. The top of Brady's Lookout Road.
Yeah, exactly.
And to go anywhere, I've got to go.
If the rest of Australia don't know, that's a huge, big lookout over the Tama River.
2 Ks of up on Brady's Lookout Road. Exactly. To go up and down. Anyway, it's fine. Yeah. It's good for you. Yeah. What doesn't break you? It makes you stronger. I wanted to ask more about how do I put it? How do you think the running is supporting your farming life now? Yeah. Because it's such a physical thing. Yeah. Farming is physical. The running is obviously physical, as is triathlon training. But
so I think they both complement each other because I do a lot of physical labour on the farm. That makes me a better runner. And because I run a lot, that makes me have better endurance on the farm. So hours and hours of doing the same task, for example, like shoveling mulch or weeding the blueberries or pushing the push mower up the awkward bit of windbreak that we've got, things like that. Yeah. They both complement each other. But there certainly, have been days where I have worked so hard on the farm that I get to the end of the day. And I do love running in the evenings. Okay. That's always been my go-to. I'm not usually an early morning I never used to be. I'm more so now, but I never used to be an early morning runner. I was do all the jobs, get the kids sorted, get the kids off to bed. Then it would be put on the head torch and I'd go for a run after at the very end of the day. And that probably comes to, again, women putting everything else first.
Yeah.
And then that's the last bit of space I can relax at the end of the day and just have that part for myself.
Probably what made you so good at the backyard ultra.
And sometimes it was and sometimes lately if I've done way too much farm work, then by the end of the day I'm absolutely shattered and I just have and then I started to give myself permission to say, Mel, you've actually probably done enough physical labour for today that you don't need, going for a run is not going to help you. Yeah. But that's only with wisdom that has come through.
Do you do strength work as well? Or does the work you do on the farm enough?
On and off. I would say strength work is what every human being should do. And what I have sporadically done. Sometimes I've been very committed to doing, say, 3 sessions a week at home of strength work. And then I would always tell myself I need to do it, but it's always the thing that I don't find time for. So because I signed up for the Backyard Ultra and because I had a couple of friends telling me how good the gym was that they went to, I did join a gym, I think 5 months before the Backyard Ultra, I joined a gym for the first time in my life. And I'm not a gym, in town, and so I have to drive into town to go and go to it. And for people, I'm sorry, we call you the mainland, for mainlanders, driving 20 minutes to a gym is nothing. But for a Tasmanian, you're like, oh, that's inconvenient.
It's so far. That's 40 minutes by the time you turn and come back. It's 40 minutes of driving.
Yes, that's right. Oh, my gosh. We little to no traffic at all. So I committed to joining a gym. I was doing 3 days a week of strength work. And in the gym, I would do now I sort of stick to half an hour on the floor, just working on my core and my back and my balance. And then I move for half an hour to the machines. And I have to limit myself to that because otherwise I'll never leave. Oh. Because I said to Holly, I never feel I've done enough in the gym. Like there's always more machines, there's more things you can do. I never feel I've done enough. But so now I limit myself and I watch the clock and I do half an hour on the floor and then I do half an hour on the machines and then I go home. And that was part of my Backyard Ultra prep.
Yeah.
And it made such a difference. And even if it doesn't make such a difference physically, to your mental strength, it makes such a difference to be feeling like you are strengthening all those important muscles. And I don't do any arm stuff at the gym ever because that is what the farm is for.
I was going to say, I think you do plenty on the farm.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need to do any arm stuff apart from trying to remember to alternate to my left arm and my right arm while doing stuff on the farm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And prevent all that RFI. Yes. Yeah.
So you've done a bunch of events. Is there any events you want to tell us about over the years? We can get into the little Backyard Ultra in a minute that we both did, but you did 4 times better than me because you went 40 yards. Tell me about other events you've done.
I love the Coles Bay Triathlon. Mm-hmm. That's been running for a lot of years.
I've been the runner in that.
Have you? There you go. It's a half Ironman. That's a half Ironman distance. I love doing that every summer. And it took me years and years and years to win it. And I remember the year that I won it, I nearly missed presentations because I had the twins in the twin pram and I was getting them sorted and ready, and then I was bringing them back down from the Airbnb and walking them back down the road, and they sort of were waiting they were like, I'd announced it or something, and I sort of jogged in, just me and the twins, and I was like, oh, sorry. And so they must have been about between 2 or 3 maybe when I won that. But Coles Bay was so special for me because Coles Bay Triathlon was the first time I ever realised I could do long distance stuff ever.
The endurance
element. I came second to Holly Ranson, and Holly was a new friend and a really good friend through a triathlon club and Aussie Masters because we were the 2 youngest people there. Yeah. And we're both the same age. And and both women, and a lot of other people were older than us, especially in Aussie Masters. But Holly and I were racing against each other, and to come second to one of your best mates was so special to me. I remember there's a photo of me like wiping tears away from my eyes because I couldn't believe that I had come second in a half Ironman distance. It would have probably been my first attempt at something longer than an Olympic distance, and to come second to Holly felt like winning to me. And it was such a special moment. I'll never forget it. And all of my family were there, and it was just, it was so, so special. So that's a really special race for me. But it took me years and years to eventually actually get it. I probably had to wait till Holly moved away, actually. to win it. Yeah, so Coles Bay Triathlon is really special to me. But also running the overland track, I've done that a couple of times. Yeah. And that has been that's been character building. That changes who you are a little bit to head off into the overland track. For, again, the mainland people that don't know, is one of the most frequented multi-day hikes in Tasmania. And it normally probably takes people, 5 days to hike it? There's quite a few huts, 5 to 6 days to hike it. And it's frequently booked out in the summer months now. It's very, very popular. There's gorgeous huts along the way that they've rebuilt now. But in Tassie, a small group of people each year can run it. And I think they cap it at like 60 or something like that. Something like that. Yeah. And it's 82 kilometres. And I don't know how much elevation, probably a bit, but it's just amazing. So I've done that a couple of times. And that sort of got me into the zone of I can run. I've never run a 100K race, and so the overland track was the furthest that I'd ever run, and I've done that a couple of times. But because of how tricky it is and how up and down it is, then I knew that I could definitely do a 100K race.
It's quite technical, isn't it? Like the overland track, anyone who's walked it, let alone run it, will understand. It's not. It's not a footpath. It's not like it's not flowy. There's quite a lot of duck boards now, but it's not a flowy sort of track. But even then, it's even with the duck boards, it's Anyway, it's a challenge. So that would have shown you that you could do more. I would say, when you do a hill versus a flat, and you think, well, that hill that might only be a K, it's probably worth 2Ks on the flat.
Exactly. I think. So all the things that we've gone through, life keeps putting doors in front of us, and then we keep choosing to go through them. Or we meet people and they're like, come along and do this, and we'll give that a try. Come along and do this. And once and it's like what a lot of runners say is, once you've done a 5K, then you want to do a 10K. And then once you've done 10K, it turns into a marathon. And then before you know it, you're doing crazy things, because the limit, Mean Girl fans out there, the limit does not exist.
No, there is. We put limits. We put limits on it. We don't need to.
We do. We do. But one of the other very special runs that I did was not a race, but that was running Frenchman's with Dan, and we got one of those blue clear days, and we got to the top of Frenchman's Cap. And that is not really a run. Like, you can run maybe the first. It's a bit runnable the first stages of the day, but then later on it's just climbing and climbing. But that was one of the most special day runs that we've ever done. I think we got back at 9 o'clock at night. It was daylight savings, so plenty of daylight, and we could see all the way to the ocean, and it was so still and calm and blue on top of that, and we got so lucky. So
beautiful.
We've done quite a few trail runs about the place in Tassie, but it's just such a nice way to see Tasmania's mountains when you don't have a lot of time. You can't afford to be going away for like 3 or 4 days. You can just go for a day run and just smash it out.
The fast packing. I know. Well, as you know, we came down our 4 days up the Western Arthurs a few days ago. But on our way down, as you may have picked up, that Piotr Babis was doing his run through. He's been on the podcast, by the way, and a couple of the other people who were out there supporting him. I've been after them to get on the podcast, and I will get them. Anyway, so that, like, the fact that I just saw, what do you think, he did it in 3 days and so how many hours, something that would normally be a 20-day Anyone who tries to do it, what is it? He strung 4 different trails together that of our most extreme.
I did see the map that he'd put up there, and it was just to the southwest of Tasmania. Yeah, that's really tough going. Yeah, I remember Dan and I we ran the first part from Cockle Creek on the southwest track heading to the west, and we got to a section where we basically gave up because we were doing 20-minute kilometres. We were meant to be trail running. We got to the stage where it was 20-minute kilometres. You couldn't even, if you could power walk quicker than that. But such was the terrain through that track that we were just climbing through the mud and the tree roots. And, and all year round, that was in summertime. Summertime. So for him to have achieved that is just...
It's crazy.
Yeah. You can't know unless you're trying to go through those sorts of terrain. You can't understand.
We had all that mud. We had the mud and the super deep trail sides.
That's just carved out and from water and people. Yeah, you can barely squeeze through them. Yeah. They're trying to run through that. That's just,
I don't know,
just incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
People do some amazing things out there, don't they?
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah. It's not something
my other favourite run in Tassie is the Gone Nuts. So I absolutely adore the Gone Nuts. That's a point-to-point run, and you can choose from 4 different distances. The 101 being the longest and 25 being 103. The shortest. There you go. Yeah,
mine was 103.
Is actually 52. Yeah, exactly. The 50K is actually 51.8.
That's right. Exactly. Typical trail running distance.
You have to warn your friends. You have to warn your friends because they start to give up on life when there's a problem with Garmin's. Your Garmin is telling you 50 and you can't see the finish line anywhere. There's still 2 kilometres to go after that. So that plays with people.
No.
But Gone Nuts, I've only ever done the 50K. I've done the 50K 5 years in a row now, and I'm signed up. I'm doing it again in a month's time. So I love that run. You get to see the national parks, you get to see the ocean pretty much the whole time, and you get to run through multiple farms. So all of the farms along the northwest coast of Tassie, they open their properties up to the runners, which I don't know anywhere in Australia that would do that. And you run through everybody's onion patches and over their farm fences and round through their tractor sheds, and it's just, and you finish in Wynyard in Tasmania. And the fact that I think Michael Phillips and his crew that they can put that on every year is just stunning. And it was suggested to me by Dan, maybe you should just do the 100 because you've done Greenvale and you've gone so far, and I think I'm not ready. My body's not ready to crack out. I've only just started running again properly just in the last week or so.
So maybe we should talk about that run then. What on earth made you decide that signing up to a backyard ultra in Tasmania was a good idea, and was it Holly's fault?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, I was just going to say, she is solely and wholly responsible for this. Love you, Holly. Holly Ranson, who's one of the best long-distance runners, or probably the best long-distance runner in this country. We've been friends, since we were 18 or 19. And
into your baby triathlon days.
Yeah, from baby triathlon days and racing our bikes against all the blokes. Watching her do Dead Cow Gully last year and watching her break the Australian record. She now holds that at 61 yards or 61 hours. Watching her on the computer monitor for day after day, loop after loop, watching the cameras going, is that Holly? There's Holly. And my kids watching, there's Holly. There goes Holly again. She's still going. She's still in it. She's still going, watching, and just listening to the commentary from Paddo the whole time. I learnt so much about backyard ultras and him interviewing people and interviewing support crew and runners as they were finishing. I learnt so much, and as the days went by, I kept thinking, gosh, I I reckon I could do all right at something like that. That sort of sounds a bit up my alley. And that's what did it. And then I think Greenvale popped up in my news feed and I thought, right. So I think within days of Holly finishing Dead Cow Gully, or even while she was running it, I might have signed up to the only backyard ultra in Tasmania.
That's right.
And they've only ever run it once before.
Mm-hmm.
So the one that we did, Michelle, was the second ever one run in Tasmania, and they're popping up all over the country and the world. Yeah. But Tassie only has one. So thank you very much to the owners of that farm that opened up their farm for this crazy sport. I forget their names. Like,
is it Daniel?
Double check. Yeah, it's Daniel. Oh, I should have, and his mum, Jenny. Helen. That's all I remember. I remember his mum, Helen.
I didn't know his mum was Helen because I said thanks to her lots of times because she was very good.
Yes, because at the finish line there was generally always Helen standing at the finish line, and I think when she was asleep, Daniel was always there. And my mother-in-law is Helen, so I said I'll remember that. And obviously my partner is Daniel, so I always gave Helen a hug when she was there. Every time I crossed the finish line, and that was thank you for them for organising that. So that's why I signed up. It's Holly Farm.
So how did you I just turned up with my only expectation was to do one first, 1 6.7 loop, and then maybe to go for 10 laps for me. That was my limit, but it was. I didn't even treat it very seriously because in my head it's just 6.7 Ks, right? Yeah. One time around. And I didn't have expectations to go much further than 10, and I thought, that'll be all right. I don't need all of the other stuff. And even before we got onto the recording, you were talking about, all the stuff that went along with it, and not to mention people. I feel like you did have a personal cook there as well. You had so much useful stuff around you, like you'd thought about it. That's really what I'm saying. Like I feel like I didn't think about it that much. We only went and got our marquee the day before when I thought, we probably should have one of those. Kind of glad I did that. But you went well beyond that. Like you had a massage table and someone to do the massaging for you.
I love you, Amber, my masseuse, Amber. I love you so much, but there is a part of my personality that is embarrassed by that because I felt, nobody else has brought their own personal masseuse to this race, but she's a good friend of mine. She's been my masseuse for the last couple of years, and she wanted to be there. She wanted to be there. She wanted to experience it. She wanted to help in any way she could. And, I felt pretentious having I did. I felt, but then as the hours wore on and the days turned into nights, then it didn't feel so bad anymore because lots of people had left and there was only a few of us there and there was only a couple of gazebos left. And so it felt okay then because we're like, well, now we're just hanging in for dear life now and we'll just do whatever we need to do. So I had organised everything. I had organised everything because I had listened to most of Pado's Backyard Ultra podcast. I think I listened to all the female ones first because I wanted to get the female perspective on how they managed the race. And I skipped through all of the female ones first, and then I sort of started going back through and listening to all the men's opinions.
I've had Pado on the podcast, by the way. He's been on this podcast as well. But I'll link to his podcast so that anyone who's interested can hop over there. Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
So I educated myself. Thank you, Pado. I educated myself through listening to nearly all of your podcasts, I reckon, in the months leading up to Greenvale. And I think that it comes from triathlon days where if you try and do all the 1% things, then that will add up at the end of an endurance sport race. So if your shoes are tied right, if you're wearing the right crop top, if you've got your hair tied right, or all of that sort of silly things that sound dumb now, but I just tried to do all the 1%ers. And so that I think that doing the 1% in a race like that will cover, it will make up for like a lot of deficits because you've given yourself an advantage in so many different areas. And it did feel like it was fully catered for, but that was because of me. I knew how many people were coming to watch and coming to support. And I have 2 children who are 10 and they are always hungry. So I had brought food for everybody and packed heaps of food for everybody and drinks, and it was for everybody.
Wow.
But so there was heaps of choice. But yeah, there was oodles and oodles of food, and lots of choice, because you never know what you're going to feel like eating in the middle of the night. Yeah. But yeah, I had so many friends and family swapping out, and it was a lot. It was a lot, but so special. It was, really, really special.
So we're going into it. Was your plan to try and be the last woman standing, or it could be the last person? Who knows? But yeah,
I think if we want to touch on how to keep yourself motivated from a day to day, you should set yourself more goals, like stepped goals, so that all you have to do, like set a minimum goal. So if that's walking outside your door, I'm just going to do 5K. For me, like doing long distance stuff, 5K. I say your minimum run has to be 5K. And then I changed it for Greenvale. Your minimum run has to be 7 kilometers. Yeah. So I would do nothing shorter than 7 kilometers, and then it would build and build. So if you step yourself way back and say, well, I'm just going to do 1 kilometer, then you can also have more steps. So for Greenvale, I had 5 distinct goals for Greenvale, and that's a self-protective thing where you can say, well, I achieved my goal of that, and so you don't walk away disappointed. So I always said in triathlon days, my goal is to finish, and I don't think I've ever DNF'd anything until Greenvale. Always my goal is to finish, and then if I get a place on top of that, that's just icing on the cake. But my goal always, and I always tell people in any sort of races, your goal should be to finish. Don't worry so much about the time. Your first goal should be to finish. Then your second goal can be a time. Your third goal can be a place, something. So I had 5 goals for Greenvale. My first goal was to make it for 24 hours. And so the race started at 8 a.m., so we needed to make it to 8 a.m. the next morning. That was my first goal, was to make it 24 hours. And I think for people doing backyards, that is a very common goal, is to make it 24 hours. And then my second goal was to make it to lunchtime, because that's when Dan's parents were coming on the second day. So I was trying to make it till 12 o'clock the next day. And then once they were there, then I was trying to make it to 6 p.m. because that was when my work Christmas dinner was on at 6 p.m. And I was going to send them a video to the group and be like, hey, I'm still running, have a drink for me. That never happened because I was losing. Like I wanted to do it, but I just couldn't muster the energy to send that video. So I had these stepped goals to make it. So, and then on top of those 3 goals that I was working, they were time sort of goals. I wanted to be the last female standing. I also wanted to be top 5. So I made it. I was the last female standing, and I made it to top 3. So I was the third person to drop out. And then the assist was Marcus Brand, I think his name is, and then the winner was Ryan Crawford. So I was very happy with that, and I was even more happy the next day when they told me that the boys had only done a couple more than me. So I think Ryan Crawford, 43, and 43, I think. And I was so proud of that, and I was so proud that the difference between the men and the women in the very end had not been huge, and I was really proud of. I'm pretty sure, I haven't been back over the race results, but I'm pretty sure there was 3 women left and 2 men in the top 5.
Oh, possibly.
It might have been Robina.
It was Robina
and myself
and the other
Amy Cordo, and then Marcus and Ryan. I'm fairly sure. So what I had told the ladies while we were running is like, we got to try and make it the equalizer. Like, we're punching above our weight in numbers, because I think in the beginning maybe there was 71 or 72 starters, but only 20 odd of those were women. And so by the time we got down to the smallest numbers, I was telling the ladies, like, we're punching above, like, where we started. Like, and I said to Amy at one stage, I'm like, we're the equalizer, because it was Amy Cordo and me and Ryan and Marcus. And so it was like 2 for 2. And just like little things like that to be really proud of. And just like and she did, I think, 15 last year, Amy Cordo, and I think she might have done 27. Sorry, Amy, if I got that wrong. I think she did 27 this time, and she was suffering so bad. If I had what she was going through, like the pain that she was going through, I don't think I would have been able to put in for those last laps. Like, she blitzed the 24 and she kept going, and like she was suffering. I won't get graphic, Amy, with what was going on with you, but the amount of pain that you were in, mate, you did such a great job to get that far. So congratulations to her. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
So I had goals. I had stepped goals.
I like that. We talk on the podcast a bit about, your A, B, and C. So it's a similar type of thing. Like,
okay. Yeah.
Your A goal being to finish.
Yeah.
Or maybe your A goal if you've got a particular time or something, but certainly one of them is to finish.
Yeah, that's right. I think the only person I had told might have been my masseuse, Amber, and I said to her that I wanted to be the last female standing. And then I said it would be amazing if I was the assist. If you don't know, in Backyard Ultra, the assist is the person that comes second. I said it would be amazing to be the assist to Ryan Crawford, who I think his Australian record is 95.
90 something. Yeah.
In the high 90s, yeah. So he's one of the best Backyard Ultra runners in the country. So I said to her it would be amazing to come second to him. But I also said it would be amazing to make it to midnight the second night, because that would be 40. And I also had looked at the top 10 list of women for Australia, Holly being at the pointy end of that list. And I saw where I could maybe slot in. And if I did 38, then I'm just scraping, like 37, 38, you're just scraping through on the list. But if I could push a bit beyond that, then I'd sort of slot into the list a bit better. So I think I'm equal 7th maybe. At the time, I think I finished up like equal 7th in the country.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I didn't know that there was a rookie thing that they keep track of.
Yeah.
So your debut in a Backyard Ultra, I had no idea until my crew told me when I came in that if I did one more lap, then I would be the new Australian record holder for the best debut of a woman. Yeah. So, but I'm sure Holly Ranson, you would have had that nailed, and no one would ever take it from you. But the race that Holly did were I don't know if she got up to like 38 or 34 or 32, and it got cancelled because of lightning strikes.
I thought there was a weather.
So Holly, she would have held the debut record, I reckon, for a Backyard Ultra.
Too late now, Holes. Sorry about that.
Pulled out of that. So, yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. So I now currently hold that record.
I was looking around because it is a thing we do, and I'm not. Well, we say we're not competitive, but we are. Obviously,
I am very competitive, and I'm not shy about saying that.
I was always very competitive when I was younger, like you, but we still do. Like my brain was like later on. It took me a few days to go. Oh, after the Backyard Ultra, maybe I was like the oldest woman. You know, you do. Yes. I probably was. There was definitely an older guy, but I think in that event was like the oldest woman. There was lots of young women.
I'm sure that you were. Yes. Yeah. Because I've talked to everybody, so I
know you definitely talked to everybody. Yeah. You were very chatty.
Yeah. So my other race goal, which was in keeping with the culture of Backyard Ultras, was to follow along in Harvey Lewis's footsteps, who he is an American. Backyard Ultras. Yeah. He is he Canadian or American?
He's American.
Sorry if I've got him.
No, he's American.
His whole way of approaching these races is to look after everybody else, and chat to everybody else, and to run with people who are suffering or who feel like they're about to drop out, and you might be the difference between them getting through a bad lap. And the difference, I think they say, between quitting and going much, much further is you might just have a bad lap and then you're done. Yeah. So if someone else in the race can help you through your bad lap, then you can hang in there for more. And the more people that get higher results in a backyard ultra, the higher result it will be overall. So it's in your best interest. If Mel, want a high result in a backyard ultra, it's in my best interest to help more of the group get through, like in that pack mentality.
It's like that tide rising, making a boat float.
Yeah. It's like a statistical analysis of backyard ultras. The more people that get higher numbers, the higher the result at the end will be. So, and I just like talking to people. I like getting to know people, and people have remembered me from other runs. They recognise my tattoos. They're like, yeah, I remember running behind you at the Triple Top. Shout out to Ryan, the dairy farmer in Derby. Hi, Ryan. You were wonderful to chat to. And he was trying to make it to 24 hours. I don't think he quite did. He was so close. But once the sun came out on the Saturday, about 10 a.m., the UV cuts. So the UV cuts really badly in Tasmania. We don't get a lot of humidity here, but we get this horrible, we get really badly sunburned. Even if it's like a 22-degree day, you get really badly sunburned. So the UV is incredibly intense here. So I covered up. I was covered up in my Legionnaire's hats. I was wearing a lot of white all the time. I know, Robina, you had all white on for a lot of it. Yeah, which it makes, I can't stress how much that makes a difference to everybody out there listening. If you've got dark hair like me, put a white cap on. If you've got, even if you tan really easily, or, you've got darker skin, cover it up and put white over the top of it, because when I'm out farming, the difference between wearing any other colour and a white sort of reflective tee, it's incredible, the difference. That would be my hottest tip for running in
Literally
the sun.
Hottest tip.
Literally the hottest, coolest tip would be cover up the top of your head, because just wear white and it reflects. And I was filthy by the end of that race.
Yeah, I was after just 10, so I can't even imagine how filthy.
Red dirt. So it's farming. It was on a farm. It's in the farming red dirt of that northwest area of Tassie, and the clay content must be very high. It's like this burgundy red dirt, and it does not wash out.
How did you handle the sleep element, or the lack of sleep element that you get in a backyard ultra?
I think that comes back to nursing. I've done a lot of double shifts in nursing, and we do a lot of double overnight shifts. So you do the late shift where you start at like 1 or 2 o'clock roughly, and then you go through to about 8 a.m. the next morning. And you don't stop, and you constantly have to use your brain, and you constantly have to be moving. And that's specific to the area that I work in. You just walking up and down the corridors, back and forth, and you have to keep thinking. You can't stop thinking. And we do a lot of double shifts, and that's the way of nursing right now. I'm not sure if it's the same across the world, but certainly here in Australia, it's just double shift central all the time now. It never used to be the case when I first started nursing. They were rare as hen teeth. Yeah. Now it's double shift every day and multiple ones. So I think that was excellent training for staying up all night. And honestly, I don't have to think that much for running. You just need to eat and drink and keep moving. Yeah. So in comparison to doing a double shift in the hospital, where you've got to deal with everybody else's feelings and pain and problem solve and add up lots of numbers that are very important numbers.
Yeah, with the drugs and stuff.
Doing something like a backyard ultra through the night feels like a bit of a luxury.
A walk in the park.
So it's a walk in the park, or a walk on the farm, a walk
around the yard. A walk around the yard. Did you have any strategy? Like, I know, for example, that Phil Gore, his strategy of running a bit faster at night so he could have a little bit more of a rest, for example. Did you think about that kind of thing?
I knew that after the first day, I knew that based on the terrain, it wouldn't be possible, because the paddocks were so rough that I knew that and having trained through the night at home in the bush, I knew that once you add in the torchlight element to rough terrain, that your pace just slows immediately for me, and you felt like you were putting in the same effort. But when it gets rough underfoot, I could not maintain the pace. So I knew that when it got to nighttime, I wouldn't be able to do faster loops. And I had already prepared myself mentally for that being the case, and to not be worried about that. To be like, yep, your pace is going to fall off overnight. That's cool. Just keep going. So I was actually doing faster loops when it was hot.
Okay.
Because I was trying to get out of the sun. So, and Holly was telling my crew, we had her on the group chat. Holly's like, tell her to slow down on those. So I was doing two slow loops and one fast one.
Okay.
And so I would do a faster one, and it was through those hot parts of the day, 10 a.m. till say 4 p.m., where we were just getting absolutely fried. And I just said I just have to get out of the sun quick enough. And there was definitely the element of trying to do what a lot of backyard ultra people do, is walk up the hills and then run and then walk and run. And I had practiced that strategy at home, and it did not work on this course. And I couldn't explain it to my crew. I don't even think I can find the words now to explain why I couldn't do it. But the terrain was just, it was a lot of it's a slashed paddock, by a tractor, a slasher, a mower, for people who are not farming, roughly mowed paddocks where cattle or sheep have been on over years and years. And so, Michelle, I don't know if you can think of words better to describe what it was like, but it's ankle breaking stuff. Constantly, it was very hard through different sections to put your foot down on anything and your foot not roll to one side or the other. Front, back, left, right, every single footstep through these 500-meter long switchbacks. And I think there was 6 to 8, outback. It was a lot of outback, and the switchbacks, and there was not a real trail. It was just mowed / sections through the paddock. And if I started to walk over that terrain, I couldn't go fast enough. I couldn't do a fast walk over that. It was doing less damage to run it quicker than plod. Plod running or walking were not an option. I had to try and run over those sections faster.
Because you can jump faster. You move faster then. You can react, so you're not.
It's almost, I don't want to compare it to walking on water, but if you can run fast enough across the top of it. But I couldn't explain that to my team. They were telling me to slow down, and I couldn't explain that I couldn't on that stuff. It just and then if I did start walking, it was too hard to start running again. So I just needed to run. We started off walking every lap, everybody headed up the road walking, and then we moved into, as soon as we got to the hill, I wanted to start running because I love running up hills. My body feels comfortable running up hills. That feels right for me. But yeah, those paddocks were just absolutely brutal. And then later in the race, it was creeping through the field that Ryan Crawford had said that it was the worst terrain. It's the hardest backyard ultra for terrain that he's ever done. And that just gave me so much Tassie pride. That I was just we're bloody insane in Tasmania. We just want everything to be hard. So welcome to Tassie. But it was just, I obviously run in the mountains, but having done the 5 months in the gym of trying to strengthen a lot of my balance and a lot of the small accessory muscles in my legs, probably what got me through as far as I did, because just the strain on your knees of trying to run across those paddocks was just absolutely brutal.
What do you think the event taught you about yourself you didn't know before?
I think it probably, I don't want this to sound arrogant, I think it probably confirmed. It helped bolster, because I went into the race feeling like I'd given myself every possible chance to do well, and there was no reason why I couldn't do well. And so I went in really confident because, as I spoke to my running friend Tash in the weeks and months leading up to this, there's no room for the negative thoughts. As soon as the negative thoughts come in, I have to push them aside, because once you start letting the negative thoughts creep in, even before you've even done a race like that, you've already lost. Like you're already losing some of your 1% there.
Yeah.
So I went in with this. I had worked on my self-talk and my mental sort of strength as much, if not more, than my physical strength. Every waking minute, because I spend a lot of time just doing, weeding, mulching, mowing, packaging parcels. I have a lot of time just by myself all through the week, and a lot of it is either spent listening to podcasts or it's thinking about how I had the best possible chance of doing well at this race, because I didn't want any of the negative thoughts to creep in, none of the doubt. I knew that was also part of my training, that I couldn't have the doubt. Compared to a lot of other races, I wouldn't be so concerned with that. But this, I knew that it was going to be a battle with my own brain when it came down to the end. Yeah, so I needed to work on that.
It's so unique in that it has no finish. It's that. Yes. So that makes it quite unique when it comes to doing any kind of sporting endeavour. Yeah. I can't think of any other that actually
that doesn't have a finish line.
So
and they say that the unlucky people are the ones who win because they don't know what their limit was. Yeah. And that's probably true and that's a very special thought. Yeah. But I was I was very proud of how far I got during that course. So I did have it as probably my final secret goal was to make it to 40. But I didn't let it enter my brain too much because I didn't want it to overwhelm my brain. And the other hot tip for people attempting a backyard ultra is not have your watch set to distance so that you can't see the total distance at any time. Okay. You won't, or if you do, it's on a different screen. So my distance only ever showed me the current lap distance.
Yeah.
And also a couple of times I calculated if I did make it to 40, how many kilometres would that be? And I nearly balked at, I had to push it aside immediately because the distance, thinking about how many hours it was easy. Yeah. Thinking about the kilometres that equated to those hours was horrific. And so I pushed it. I immediately saw the number on the calculator and then went, nah. And I don't want to know that. I don't want to digest that information. And so, yeah, it was also coincidentally, so my Garmin, I think, said 274 kilometres.
Yes.
And in the days and weeks after that, I then also saw that it married up with Holly's result in France. So her 24-hour, she ran that amount of distance in 24 hours.
Oh,
was
my
274. Lord. And I had done 274 in 40 hours. So if that gives anybody an indication of Holly's abilities. And that feels really special to me too. What a coincidence that was.
That's really cool. I love that.
It is really cool, isn't it? And again, this is what running brings to us. It brings so many special little moments like that. Very serendipitous, isn't it?
So is Backyard Ultra going to be something that you are going to do a few of now, or are you a one-horse wonder?
Well, I immediately was like, no, never again. I ticked that off the bucket list. And that's easy for me to say because there's only one here in Tassie. And I said to Dan that if he wants to do it next year, I'll crew for him because there's only one here. But then, yeah, you're race director of Melbourne, Backyard Ultra.
Yeah, well, it's not a backyard. It's
yes, yeah. But anyway, the seed has been planted a bit because then I think, well, if I can do that
on a gnarly
on some rough paddocks with no shade and no shelter and no rivers and you can see the ocean. It's absolutely picturesque at Greenvale. The course is brutal. But it is absolutely picturesque because you get up to the first 1 kilometre mark and you look out and you see all of the ocean. It's just absolutely stunning.
It is gorgeous.
But loop after loop after loop, it was brutal. And there was these sort of golf ball sized rocks up the first bit of road in a lot of places because it's obviously a working farm. There's bits of bigger rocks and I think people should have taken note of what I was doing on the Friday all through the day was I was flicking them off the course. Every single chance I got, I was flicking them off the course because I look at them and I'm like, I'm going to roll my ankle on that in the night. I'm going to trip on that in the night. That's going to hurt me in the night because I was preparing for the night. And so everywhere we went, if there was anything on the course that I thought was going to be a danger to me in the night,
you got rid of
I was either picking them up and moving them off the trail, or I was flicking them off to the side with my shoe.
I love that.
All day Friday.
That was so good of you. Well done.
It was all selfish.
I didn't even notice you doing that.
That'd be me. Yeah, that'd be me tripping on it in the night. So. But yes, my race strategy was to get to know people, to make friends every lap, and to have fun, because I knew that if I could have as much fun as I could for as long as I could, it would help take the pain away. And that certainly is a wonderful race strategy, because then the wheels ultimately, fell off when there was 3 of us left.
So why did you stop? We didn't talk about that. Why did you stop? Because you obviously had something left. You did a cartwheel.
I was running out of time. I was starting to run out of time. And I was struggling probably with the sleep deprivation, because I had tried to close my eyes maybe 5 or 6 times throughout the whole race, and my brain being the way that it is, it doesn't go to sleep easily. And I was struggling with the time the most. I was starting to get closer and closer to the hour mark, and I felt, even with about probably lap like 32, 33, I was just convincing myself to keep going. Like the mental battle that started at around probably that time, like about 6 o'clock, with about still 6 hours for me to go, I was struggling to even fathom how I could make it 6 more hours till midnight. And I kept bringing myself back immediately and being like, don't think, just as Bill Gothers and a lot of people, just focus on the lap that you're on and in and what you can do. And I had some rough laps through there with nausea and random weird pains that were really bad. And then I would convince myself that I would do, the nurse in me was going, I'm going to do this, this and this when I get back, and then I'm going to go out for the next lap. And if it's still this bad the next lap, then you can pull out now. You can stop. But then ultimately the next lap wouldn't be as bad, and I would keep. It's like almost bribing a toddler. Is that part of your brain where you just keep convincing it? And I'd also listen to a lot of Rob, the mindset coach, his podcasts. Rob Mason, the mindset coach. I'd listen to a lot of his stuff. Shout out to you, Rob. About when you really get down to the tricky parts, when it's getting really bad, he would describe, just get to that tree. See that lamppost, just get to that lamppost. See that rock, just get to that rock. That's all you need to do. And it becomes coaching the child in you. And that's what I was doing. The lap number 39 was all just see that bit of fence, just get to that. That's all. And it was talking out loud so that you can hear yourself. So you hear a voice. And it's speaking out loud. And I do that a lot in my day-to-day farm work, in my day-to-day life. There's nobody around. I will say stuff out loud to myself to compliment myself and give myself a pat on the back, because nobody else is going to do it. And if your brain hears those words, then it more real. It makes it very real, and you're processing as if someone is there cheering you on. So the lap 39 was just, and it was, so we'd been in the dark. So I finished at midnight. We'd been in the dark for 3 or 4 hours, and the wind had got really bad. So the wind tearing across the paddocks, there was just debris flying in my face. If that was another thing I could have taken, added to the list, was clear glasses, like what a cyclist would wear. Clear glasses, or even people who are using the drill or the angle grinder, wear your safety goggles. If I had a pair of safety glasses, that's what I actually needed. The stuff blowing across the paddock, the dirt and the dust, the wind was so strong that night, and it was getting cold. It was cold, it was windy, and it was dark, and there was just me and 2 blokes, and they were way off ahead of me with their little torchlights heading across the paddock. And I'm okay by myself, very okay by myself. Never felt lonely or scared or anything like that. But that lap 39 was doing that the entire lap. And then lap 40 was me saying goodbye to the course. So every time I got to a certain place, I would say goodbye, witch's hat that I'm never going to see again. Goodbye, blah, blah, blah. I'm never going to see you again. Like with a bit of rage and a bit of like passion, just angrily yelling in the night, in the wind and in the dark, yelling at goodbye, Connor, I'm never, ever going to see you again, sort of thing. And that drove me through the last lap that I had set for myself. So, yeah.
And how did it feel? Across the line?
It felt, I don't know, because I think my brain probably wasn't working very well by that stage. I think there was anger. A lot of anger at certain things. But I think that was what I was clinging to in that stage to find that part of my personality to keep pushing myself forward. But before it had been complimentary and supportive, and by that stage then it was just raw sort of aggression, probably more so pushing me through that final lap. But I do remember at one stage there was fireworks. There's fireworks out on the coastline. I'm not sure which town it would have been then.
There really
Alveston,
was?
maybe, and Devonport. What weekend was that? Was that recreation?
Oh, was it a long weekend?
No, Christmas fireworks. What is it? The start of December that would be fireworks.
Well, we have
heaps of fireworks.
We
have at Alveston and Devonport.
The long weekend that they have the Deloraine Craft Fair. I always think is that the
I think
maybe lap November. Oh, I don't know.
At some stage there was fireworks as
maybe
it got
there
dark
wasn't really fireworks and you just you were delirious.
Because you can see on my Garmin map that you can see where I go off course for a little bit, and then I've looked up with my torchlight and seen the witches' hats across the paddock, because again you're not following a trail, you're just following grass in the dark.
It's been cut.
And so I've looked up and I've seen witches' hats, and I'm like, oh, they're over there. So you can see only one point on my Garmin data where I have strayed off course because I was looking at the fireworks.
Because you think you were looking at the fireworks.
I was running towards the fireworks. Shut up, Michelle.
That's not proof.
That's not proof. Somebody looked this up for me. There was fireworks
on the coast. Whatever.
What was it? December 3rd? Friday? No, Saturday night.
Yes.
December 3rd or 4th. Fireworks at Alveston, and there was also some at Devonport. And I was looking around to tell someone. I was like, look at the fireworks. Look at the fireworks. Like, I'm looking at nobody, because the boys have already done the switchback. Their head torches are probably 500 metres ahead of me on the next switchback, heading opposite direction back down the hill off. And I'm like, they can't see this. Only I get to see this. I'm out here by myself. Look how lucky I am. And I've run towards the fireworks and then had to correct myself and come back in ever so slightly, not a huge detour.
It was Saturday the 13th of December. And
13th.
Yes, it's only just over a month ago, really, like 6 weeks or something from now. I can't think of any reason why they would have fireworks on Saturday.
Well, there was fireworks at Devonport and Alveston, and a family member had told me as well. She said, "Did you see the fireworks?"
Okay, now we've had proof of somebody else. That's okay.
I never felt like I was losing my mind. I never felt like I was getting delirious. I did get very anxious though. I started getting very anxious that I wasn't going to make it back in time on the last 3 or 4 laps.
You didn't want to time out.
Yeah, I was sprinting back the last probably it's nearly like 800, like a kilometre, and it's all downhill.
Yeah, that was my favourite bit.
Because I love that bit, and it was pretty much all the way downhill. And I would get to there because then you knew the terrain was pretty good for that last section, and I would sprint so hard all the way back in the dark. And then I get back and I still have like 4 minutes or 5 minutes, but that was I was losing touch with being able to calculate how much further so then I was starting to lose the plot, but only in that aspect where I couldn't tell myself, you can just jog back, you've got time. I was starting to panic that I was running out of time. And even in the end, I didn't time out. I still had 2 minutes or so. I haven't looked at any data or anything, but I did say that I would be done at midnight. I'm done. It was so windy and cold, And it was a bit depressing. I think it would be a different atmosphere. It was a bit depressing because there were only 3 people left, and there'd only been 3 people left for a really long time. And I almost felt sorry for the people who own the farm. I felt like too much empathy for everybody else. My children were in a tent. No, they weren't. Actually, my children were asleep on the gazebo floor of our gazebo. They weren't in the tent. They tried to stay up to keep watching me, and literally stepping over them to like sort my stuff out, each lap. And they were just a mess of tangles of legs and arms and sleeping bags in the middle of the gazebo floor. And I think I felt bad for everybody else, but I was also done. But I did have a lot of family and friends there, and it was windy and cold and dark. And
so on a practical level, because I'm lying in bed recovering for like the whole time you did all that, from my little 10 laps, I was thinking, what do you do when you finish? Like, did you or pack up straight away and go home then, or did you stay there? Then how did that work? Or just
honestly, probably from then on, it was one of the worst nights of my life. Probably from then on, because as a nurse, I think I'm pretty good at figuring out what's going on with my body, and being an athlete I wouldn't even call myself an athlete. I think
isn't
it strange? Like
we can call you an athlete. We can call you an athlete.
But because I don't do it for a job, or a career, I'm a hobbyist. I do it as a hobby. But that was one of the worst. I got bundled into. I felt pretty fine physically. I didn't feel that bad. But once I stopped, everything fell apart.
Yeah.
And so if I'd felt as bad as I did in the coming hours after the race, as I did, if I felt that bad during the race, I would have stopped. But the way I felt after the race had finished for me was what ultimately we called an ambulance, like at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, because I did. I didn't want to call an ambulance because, again, I didn't want to waste their time with something that I'd done to myself. But again,
I took my own finger off. I'm not calling the hospital.
No, but it's a Saturday night. The ambos are working with drunk people on a Saturday night, Sunday morning, and I got put in a car and I got driven to Devonport, which is 15 minutes nearby, to a family member's house, and they looked after me. They put me in the shower and washed me and brushed my hair, and I couldn't eat or drink. I just had a few sips of water and maybe some Panadol.
Yeah.
And that was about all I could do. But my legs just felt like they were on fire. And a lot of people can probably relate to this after doing crazy endurance sports. But I was just in bed in agony. My legs just felt like they were on fire. And the other thing that was worrying me as a nurse was I couldn't stop hyperventilating. So my rest rate was very high ever since I finished the race. But because I was doing it quietly, probably myself included didn't really notice.
Yeah.
But I really thought when I was alone in the dark, lying in bed, trying to sleep, I could notice that I could not slow my breathing down. And that's what ultimately got me to the hospital, because I don't want to do kidney damage. I don't want to do any sort of permanent damage to my body or my organs, because I can't get those back. So I just needed a few bags of IV fluid, and I was good to go, and some blood tests, and then some follow-up blood tests. So it was, as they call it, athlete's liver. So again, bit of a joke for the girl who didn't party too hard, got athlete's liver.
Is that better or worse than drinking too much alcohol?
Who was the fella that was oh my gosh, why can't I remember your name? I'm so sorry. The dude that was opposite our gazebo, Michelle, he drinks every lap. Craig Cairns. His Instagram handle is Craig_Cairns. Huge shout out to that man. Craig brought the same energy that I brought to the event. And he's a physiotherapist, and he was amazing to talk to, and he is there for a good time, and he wants everyone else to have a good time. And what a wonderful human being. So shout out to you, Craig. But I messaged him in the coming days, and you can't believe what I got. I got athlete's liver. What did you get? He was the one drinking the whole time. So Craig makes a joke of last year and the previous Greenvale and this Greenvale, he would drink like a beer or a cocktail or something between every loop, and he got really far. This time around, he had horrible tonsillitis, I think, and he was recovering. He was having like febrile sweats and episodes from his infected tonsils. I think that's what he had.
Awful.
And he was still there, showing up, trying to make people laugh, dressed in his Borat outfit, dressed in his Super Mario outfit, playing the theme music, walking with people at the back, walking with people who were struggling. And I said to Craig, guess who ended up with athlete's liver? Wasn't you. It was me. Google it. If you want to know, but I'm okay now.
So it doesn't, there's no long-lasting effects from that then?
No, I think, no, you just need to just eat. The only thing to recover is to eat really healthily and just look after yourself. So,
which you do anyway.
Do that anyway, yeah. I mean, I'm not perfect at it. Come on, people. You've got to give yourself some Cadbury's and a cider here and there, don't you?
Of course.
That's what gets you through the week. But yeah, you just need to eat lots of nutritious food. And livers are one of the best organs for recovery, as in it can repair itself. So, yeah.
How are you feeling now, some 6 weeks or so since?
I have not been able to, I've been to the gym twice in that 6 weeks, and I think I've really only started running the last week or so with some sort of determination. But because the farm has been so busy, we were open to the public. So we went straight from finishing at Greenvale into ongoing preparation to open the farm to the public for the first time ever. And it was, there was no time to be going to the gym or doing, so I probably actually swam more, but that was with the kids, taking them to the pool, and I'd do a few laps. And so I probably swam more, which was probably good, but there was not a lot of time for much else. But I wish that I could have got back into the gym a lot better. But that will come. The kids are going back to school. We'll close up the farm soon. Blueberry season will end in a few more weeks. So, yeah, my hips are really tight. My knees are still a bit stiff and sore, but it's because I haven't been doing the work to look after them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mind you have been. It's not like you've been sedentary. It's not like you've just been sitting.
No,
around.
Not at all.
So you have been moving those hips and all those things. So maybe.
But I guess for when you're so in tune with your body, and Holly, we talk about this quite a bit, and Michelle, when there's a niggle and it's not quite right, and you're so in tune when stuff is not quite right that even me doing my day-to-day life is I need to do some work to loosen up my hips and get them more mobile
some
again.
Specific stuff.
Yeah, specific stuff, yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So in the past, number one, congratulations, amazing effort. I think,
Thank you.
Yeah, your effort at the Backyard Ultra was incredible, even though I was only there for 10 hours of it. But I did watch the rest of it, as I said, from bed at home.
Congratulations to you too, because you set a goal and you achieved your goal.
I did.
Yeah.
If I hadn't, I tanked my iron stores pretty bad, and if I hadn't done that, I would have done 11. That was my super A goal in my brain. Well, I'll just do one more because I've told everyone I'd do 10.
Yes, I love that. I always say just do one more than you think you can.
Yeah.
It has always been one of my training mottos. Yeah.
But, the iron levels weren't going to let me do that. From about lap 7, I was suffering from that. So not being able to breathe properly going up the hills was not fun. So I thought, well, I should do something. And the fact that I couldn't really get out of bed for 2 days afterwards, not because of my body, and my body was fine. So tired, and that's the iron, as you know, it's nursey lady. Yeah, getting rid of all of my iron was a good way to keep me in bed. Anyway, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm not sure I will necessarily want to do another one again, unlike you, but I'm quite happy to come along and help you.
Thank you.
Go. Thank you. It's such a weird concept. I've talked about it on the podcast heaps of times now that I've done it myself. That whole, everybody starting at the same time and again and again and again. It just it takes a while to get your head around. It's fun, in a fun way. I don't mean that in a negative way, but just
it's a beautiful race format. Yes, it's wonderful.
It's quite.
And that's why it's like park run. That's why they're taking off across the country and across the world. Park runs are and backyard ultras are because it's so accessible to any any ability.
Exactly.
Yeah. And children as well. Kids do phenomenally well at
Yeah.
backyard ultras as well.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Anyway, now, do you think you're motivated? You've mentioned goals a few times. So these are kind of general questions that I ask people on podcast.
Yes.
Do you think you're motivated by a goal? And of course, this will change through your life. It's probably already changed, and in the future it'll change again. So having an event, does that really help you get out the door, having something on the horizon to train for? Or do you not always need that? And of course, does it depend where you are in your stage of life right now?
Having a goal, and I do have other female friends, shout out Beck, hi Beck. Beck will also say this too. She has got to be signed up to something to work towards, and the difference between that limbo land of not being signed up for something, and that comes back down to what type of personality you are. Yeah. I have friends that love running, hello Tash, who don't care about winning and don't care about beating that person over there who you don't even know. Yeah. That does not even register on their radar. And so I'm like, well, what motivates you?
Or even does she like to beat her own PRs? Because sometimes people don't want to
well, it's more about knowing that you achieved that goal for ultra running. So Tash recently did her first 100K, and to know that you can do that, I think, so you're not racing against anybody else. You're just trying to achieve that goal for yourself. But for me, I'm very motivated by being entered into events. But also I've been doing it long enough that it's part of my life that now I don't need an event to work towards. And I find it actually quite a relief probably when I'm not actually working towards something and can just run for the sake of enjoying running and not have that pressure. Yeah.
So how does it feel when you can't run for a little bit? Because you've got an injury, or like now you've been recovering? I don't know.
I have learned over the years that if you are injured, I need to do something else. Yeah. If I can't run, then I need to be cycling. If I can't do that, I need to be swimming. It doesn't matter. You just need to swap it out with something, like go and move your body for a certain amount of time so that you feel good. So stopping and resting completely is not really an option that goes down well over weeks and weeks. So swap it with something else, because otherwise you'll feel miserable and then it's harder to get started again. But for me, stopping, basically what I would consider nearly stopping running the last 5 weeks, it hasn't felt like that because I've been so busy on the farm that it hasn't really felt like I wanted to go for runs, but there's been no time to do that. Michelle, I just need to go get my phone charger because it's just 6%. Just hold that thought.
We'll hit pause for a second.
We're back.
And we are back with a battery charging thing for the phone so that you don't just disappear, which is really good. Yay, Mel. Good job.
Hello, I'm back. Technology, thank you.
Now, we were talking about recovery and how you, well, it's not so much recovery, but when you can't run for a while, but then you've just been filling your time with farm and life stuff, and which is physically demanding as well.
Yes, yeah. But I would say to people, through my own experience over the years, is if you can't do something because you're injured, try and it's probably like when you're trying to eat healthily, swap it for something else. If you would normally be going for a run in the morning, put on like a yoga video or a Pilates video on YouTube. Go and swap it for something else so that you've moved your body and that you've filled that bit of time slot in your day so that you can feel like you've achieved that and your body feels all those good endorphins. But it is hard to find something as good as running, but certainly bike riding or doing a few laps in the pool for myself is what's important. But me, luckily, I don't get injured very much. So I have things that hurt regularly that won't go away, but I don't often have injuries that are so debilitating that I have to stop for weeks and weeks. So I've been very lucky in that aspect through my life, and it's probably because I have such a long base through my 20s and into my 30s of triathlon, where there wasn't a lot of time to overwork any specific part of my body. And so all the cross training through triathlon has probably strengthened that. I have always had a terrible lower back pain because I think I have poor posture. But as soon as I start fixing my core strength, it goes away. Yeah. It just goes away. So for me, especially having twins and a terrible pelvic floor and all that sort of stuff that goes along with that, strengthening my core is what supports my back. And it feels foolish to have to relearn the same lessons I've learned in the past, but going back to the gym and working on my core with all those sorts of dynamic moves that are not complicated or tricky or hard has made the absolute world of difference to my lower back pain. And I feel that most working on the farm is my lower back pain.
Yeah. I understand that when I haven't run for a while or whatever, and I can feel my stomach feeling, bigger or whatever, just feels less holding me up. The moment I start doing more running and more core work, any kind of lower back pain is gone.
Yeah.
As a result.
It's an absolute miracle. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of painkillers that are prescribed to people, whereas maybe it should have been a lot more physiotherapy prescribed to people. And that's not to say people don't have pain and real pain issues. But as someone who has experienced chronic pain from probably when I was a teenager till even now, knowing that doing core work helps that dramatically is very powerful. Yeah.
So what do you think your life would have been like? And I usually say if you hadn't started running, but for you it's like if you hadn't started, I don't know, triathlon, doing running, any of that stuff, if you didn't have any kind of...
No, if I did, so I started running when I was 12 and I did it consistently, just alone around my neighbourhood consistently. Not heaps, but maybe like 2 or 3 times a week.
So what's it given your life you'd be missing out on?
And all through my teenage years. So I don't actually sort of know a life without it. No. So I don't know. I think I heard another farmer tell me this once. He said, busy people get stuff done, and it's often the busy people who are signing up for stuff, on committee board, volunteering their time. It's the people who don't have enough time that are the ones putting their hands up to do more things. And I thought, gosh, that is so true. And it's the people who say they don't have time that are not doing anything. I think I don't know what I'd be doing.
You think maybe it's given you would you be the person that you are? Like would you be the person who's this overachieving, fill up my life with everything or not? Because, again, on the podcast, we talk about it quite a bit. If you're not a runner, you don't really understand that this thing that you need to use energy to do actually also gives you energy when you do it. So it's not just energy sapping. The equation works the other way more. You get more energy back as a result.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't agree with that more, Michelle. And that's what I have tried to explain to people at work. I would do like a long run and then I'd do my afternoon shift at the hospital and it might come up and I did 20 kilometres or something. Like, how can you then come and do like an 8-hour shift at the hospital? And I would try and say exactly what you have described. If you being energetic and doing sport gives you more energy. So it just takes away that lethargy. If I stop moving and I sit down or I lie down, my body is like, girl, it's bedtime. That's it. Because I don't know a time of the day where I stop to do anything sedentary. And so the signal to my brain, if I lie down, if that's the only time I lie down is in bed. Yeah. But I think I don't know what my life would be like without exercise. I don't think we wouldn't have done the Blueberry Farm. We wouldn't have seen all the beautiful places in Tasmania that we've seen. I wouldn't be a fun parent. I wouldn't be as a fun co-worker. I think I'd be pretty depressed. I think my mental health would be very poor. And as I alluded to before, I think I would definitely probably need to be medicated to be okay. And because I think human beings, we are animals. We've come from a life, evolved to be always moving our bodies and be busy doing something, usually outside. And that's what my life is generally. It's moving my body, and I'm generally, luckily, I'm very privileged. I'm often outside. And when I have to be in the hospital for a double shift or even a single normal shift, just to go outside and take a deep breath of fresh air that's outside of the hospital, for me on my break is like, it's just take away that suffocation. And so, yeah, if you're struggling with your mental health and moving your body, just put yourself outside, put your workout clothes or your running clothes or whatever it may be, put them out, buy yourself a new pair of runners, just put your gear on and tell yourself you're just going to go to the letterbox. You're just, well, for me, my letterbox is 500 meters away. But for me, getting back into running after having twins was putting them down for a nap and running back and forth to the letterbox.
Yeah.
And so it was all you can manage. So just set your bar very low and achieve that, because then you can pat yourself on the back.
It then becomes the consistency is the only thing that's important, if that makes sense.
That's right. Absolutely.
A low bar with consistency will win every time.
Every time. It's a tortoise in the hare. It's a tortoise in the hare. We are not training for the Olympics here, people. We're just training to stay in our own lives.
Yeah.
And to keep being able to do our own lives. You said about running around after children. Then you want to be able to run around after grandchildren. I want to be a fit grandma if my children ever have children. You know, I want to be enjoying my life and be doing Tai Chi when I'm older and being those older ladies who are still out there in the mountains going for trail runs, because I want to show off, I guess.
No, it's because you want to prove this is what life is about to your kids and your grandkids as well. Like, to me, you know, sometimes we haven't talked about it today, but I imagine for you, just like many of the parents on here, like the example that you're showing your kids as well, as an adult who is a sporty person, like both of your kids are very lucky. Both their parents are, you know, out there moving as adults, whereas not all of their friends' parents are doing the same. So the example is
normalized. We've normalized
exactly
movement and how that is regularly fit into a day. I'm going for a run, going for a ride. Come with us. We're going to go do this. And I'd say to my kids, we'll be out there maybe doing a jog. And I say to my children, well, why do we run? And I say, my daughter will say, to keep fit, to be fit. Yeah. And I said, but what's more important than that? Why? And they would say, because it makes us feel good. It does. It makes us feel good, and it makes us more patient, and it makes us more kind, and it makes us better human beings. And yeah, life is so short, and I think working on a ward specifically where I work from a very young age, I have learned that life is taken away from you very quickly and through no fault of your own. And it does feel sometimes like we are ticking time bombs. There's something going wrong, but that's only because I'm exposed to that through my career. Yeah. So every day that we get to move our bodies and that they work is a good dialogue to tell yourself, because especially, I mean, I'm 36 now, and I grew up through like the Ally McBeal days of being pencil thin and needing to fit a certain aesthetic. Even now we've moved into you need to have sort of like a gym body aesthetic and be sort of really muscly but also thin. But, you know, we're always moving through
a big butt thing.
What society wants us to look like. And there's a constant dialogue in a lot of people's heads, women and men, but especially for young girls, this constant dialogue of what you're supposed to look like. And the only way I have found over the years to try and put that in a box where it belongs is to keep telling yourself, my body works. Other people wish their bodies worked as well as mine. I'm so lucky. And like I tell my legs, like even during the backyard ultra, you're doing a really good job, legs. You're doing such a good job. You're doing all I need you to do. And if you keep that dialogue going, you know, when you look in the mirror and you see something you don't like, try and then quickly tell your brain, but my body still works. I'm not in hospital today. That's a really good day. Or I say to my patients, you know, if they feel sorry for me working hard, I remind them that I am the lucky one because I get to go home at the end of my shift.
Yeah.
But whereas our patients might be in hospital for months, and even recently a lady was in there for over a year. So we're so lucky that our bodies even work for us, that if we can keep telling ourselves that, it makes going through life easier and easier as a woman too, and a young. Yeah, and it's a hard lesson to learn. It's a very hard lesson to learn. And I think a lot of women learn it sort of maybe in their 30s and 40s. You get to this sort of, can I swear on here? So
yeah, sure.
Like we get to the point where we go, fuck it. And, you know, I don't care what I look like. I'm just happy with where I'm at now, and that's good enough. But it takes us years and years to learn that sort of wisdom. So the sooner young ladies out there, and even women of any age, the sooner you can learn to just be grateful for your body. And it's easy to be sort of like, hashtag grateful and hashtag blessed. That doesn't work. You need to tell yourself when you hear those bad thoughts. And I'm speaking from myself, and what I do is trying to bring it back and say, hey, your body works. It does exactly what you need it to do. You're not in hospital today. You're not sick. So go out there and do something. Go and do something fun. Make it fun. Whatever you're doing, just have a good time.
Can you think of a time where it's been really visceral for you, where it's really helped for you to go out for a run? Because you don't have to be like detailed, but, you know, obviously you would have horrible things happen at work. You have a life as well. Things happen during our lives. You don't have to go into the detail, but can you describe what it's like?
One standout one was, so when you first asked me to be on the podcast, my father had just died unexpectedly, and he died of a heart attack. And I went down, my sister lives in Hobart, my brother lives in Adelaide. So, and my parents were very close in Lagana from us. And so I went down there that morning, and it had happened in the night. So the ambulance has taken him away in the night. And I went down there first thing in the morning. I got the kids off to school, and I heard about it when I was getting the kids off to school, and I drove straight down to my mother's, and well, it was then my parents. And I said, at the end of an hour or two, I said, well, I think she might have asked, because she was in shock, and I said, and I think she might have asked what I was doing that day. And I said, well, I had a long run planned for that day. And I said, so I'm going to go home and do that. And so, he had died in that night. And then I went home in the middle of the day. I think it was a Monday, might be Valentine's Day. And I ran, and it was a 21-kilometre run, and I ran 2 loops of my bush trail loop, and probably did a lot of deep thinking, and probably quite a lot of crying and listening to music or anything, I don't know. But that was what I had planned for that day. And because of consistency, and because if you're a runner and you've got maybe a race coming up, I would have had actually the Gone Nuts was coming up, actually, probably in a fortnight. So it would have been one of my longer runs in prep, finishing off for Gone Nuts. But it was in my diary. I was doing it. And, that when you say a really visceral moment, when you feel, so I still went out and went my run. And, you know, and other runners would relate to how much that probably saved me that day to go and do that. And then to be a good mum.
Yeah. It's that ability to process, I think. And it probably pulls me into that place where this day and age we are so having things thrown at us all the time. Like if you're not out running, then there's phone calls, there's social media, there's everything always coming in. Orders for your chicken. Chicken jaws. That's the one. So there's just always stuff coming at us.
Overload.
So that ability to be able to go and just process what's gone on in your life, or what's going on in your life, and put it in a place that is healthy, I think. Than the alternative. That's how I feel.
Is stewing over it, and you can't sleep at night because you're thinking about it. So almost going out for a run or whatever activity you do, if you take yourself away from other adults and other stimulus for an hour or half an hour. When we talk about you can solve the world's problems, and you can solve your problems, and it's like going, we're having a Zoom meeting right now, but it's like going away and having a Zoom meeting by yourself. Exactly. And you've got an agenda, because all of the agenda is rolling around in your head, and you start to work through all of the things that are bothering you and that you're overthinking.
Yeah.
But because you're moving your body while you're thinking about the stuff, you start to process it perhaps in a different way. So, go for a run so you can have a meeting with yourself, solve all your life's problems. I mean, the ideas that I've come up with out for a run, it's a really value. So it's just, there's so much value. There's so much value to have that time.
It's so accessible. Like, to me, running is more accessible than swimming and cycling, or almost any other, apart from walking, any other solo thing that you can do. You don't even have to do it solo, obviously. I just think, we're made to do it, as you alluded to before. Genetically, our ancestors, I say this on the podcast all the time, our ancestors were good runners, because otherwise they wouldn't have got away from the things that wanted to eat us. So that one.
Now we're running from the saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going. I like that. Or we wouldn't have caught our food, because it was cases where we needed to run to catch our food. So, our ancestors in particular were runners. So we don't really have.
Yeah. So think about that. Your body was designed to move and to be outside in fresh air. Go and seek those things out and just see. But it needs to be consistent. You have to, and so you need to set the bar low, because I think that's where so many people mess up. If they're like, I'm going to run every day for the next, or I'm going to run 5 kilometers every single day. Like, you need to set the bar low. If you were first starting out, say every Friday evening, I'm going to go for a walk/jog run, and then you might move into every Wednesday and Friday, but book it in like with yourself and tell other people in your family about it. On those days, I'm going to go do this. And I think set the bar low, and then it starts to become addictive. So like, if you're going to get addicted to anything, get addicted to endorphins from exercise. That's okay.
I think that's a good idea.
But then you've got to get addicted to eating more too. And when we were training, so my friend Tasha was training for her first 100K at Kosciuszko. At the same time, I was training for Greenvale. And so we really struggled with, and I love to eat, but we really struggled with eating enough, and probably enough of the right stuff. Yeah, it was just, and we're really proud of ourselves through that time that we didn't lose any weight. Like, we were training really intensely for 5 to 6 months, and we were so proud at the fact. And listen to me, ladies, like, we got through that time period where we didn't lose any weight, and I was really proud of that. My body did not look the same, but I hadn't lost any weight. And when you're running, like, I think I don't remember, I got up to like 100K weeks, then like 110K weeks, and it was the most I had ever run ever before in my life. And also we found it weird that we lost our appetite as well, which I talked to Holly about this and asked her about this, losing your appetite when you're maybe under, it could be a stress response to that volume of exercise, is a loss of appetite. So to have been exercising as much as we were, then to have it come with a loss of appetite was a very bizarre feeling.
Oh, I don't run enough, obviously. I only get that when I'm in a long run. I don't get that when I've been training so much.
Very strange. And again, something that was a curveball that we were running up against. And also in the Backyard Ultra, I've never struggled with nausea ever. I've never like thrown up in a race. But the nausea in that Backyard Ultra was, I just struggled to get the calories down. I absolutely struggled. Yeah. And that's probably what wiped me out and ended me in hospital at the end, was I couldn't eat enough. But I kept going because
you did.
Because it was my goal.
That's right.
I couldn't get enough food in.
Yeah.
And then one of the laps later on, I went out with no nutrition. Pardon me. So that was a disaster. And I pretended. So again, I had all this mental prep that it was very late. The sun hadn't gone down, so it must have been just before sunset. It was very late on the second day. I guess then maybe hour like 36 or so, and I had left with no food, and I think I was alternating between water and tailwind, and in my flask I also only had, unluckily it was a water lap, and I had water, and I felt my pockets as soon as I left the start line. And in a backyard ultra, you can't get any outside assistance once you're out on course. You can share food and drinks with other competitors, but you cannot get outside assistance once you're out on course. And I remember just feeling down on my pockets, on my shorts, and I realized I was heading out very, late in my race without any nutrition. And I started to pretend that I had tailwind in my flask. I started to pretend that I'd eaten, because it was getting that desperate without the kilojoules going in for that 45 to 50 minutes was going to, like, in my head, I immediately knew that this could be it, like this could be the end, because I was so on the cusp of not getting enough in. So I just started to pretend that I had eaten. And that
pretend calories.
And I wouldn't even say that's not a delirious, delusional thing. That was then me being protective and trying to think of ways not to panic.
It's survival. You had placebo calories.
Yes. So any run women out there, you got to eat, and you got to eat your protein, and you got to eat your calcium, because you've only got one skeleton and you don't want it to get brittle, and you've only got a certain amount of muscle mass, and that's what's going to bounce when you fall over when you're older. So try and support your joints, eat well now. Don't worry about how much you weigh. Just think about how strong you feel.
Mel, I feel like you should have your own podcast.
Holly and I basically do, because we send voice messages to each other all the time.
You two do a great podcast together. You have so much great advice, and you're both so sage beyond your years. We're
going to call it like
rambling
rambles or something like that, because most of the time it's not about running. We'll be running while we send it, so it'll be breathy and windy, and we'll be apologizing for the wind, and it'll just be like this really long rant about nothing, and then we apologize, and then we say, not sorry, not sorry, but here, enjoy 30 minutes of nonsense. And that's how our friendship has continued for years and years. So thank you, Facebook Messenger, for allowing
voice messages.
Voice messages, because we're so busy that format works for us. And then we try and respond to each other's questions about each other's lives. Yeah. And sometimes we end with the questions or begin with the questions, so the other person can, it's an art form. But,
I love it. It's awesome. Well,
people who don't move their bodies need to know why. Yeah.
I've kept you a very long time. A very, very long time. But we could talk for another 2.5 hours if we wanted to.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But your kids may not like that.
No.
Is
we want to go to the beach. I think they're waiting.
That's what I mean.
I don't know. No one is more fishing.
Is there anything about running? And it seems like a stupid question, because I think you will have something to say. Is there anything about running that we haven't talked about in our little ramble through your life and your backyard ultra that we haven't shared that you wanted to share in particular?
I think I want to acknowledge, as some of the women might have picked up on, because I know I'm speaking to a woman, so I assume you have a lot of female followers, but also men. So. But I think there's one thing that Holly and I talk about on and off that I would like to acknowledge. Women running, we go through our menstrual cycles every fucking month, and it is just, it's so inconvenient, and I feel so jaded that the boys don't have to worry about this. But what do you do on your period app on your phone when you see that race date come up for your favorite race that's coming up again this year, and you quickly flick through your period calendar and go, oh shit, it's on the same day, or worse, for me it's like on day 3, and so by then I'm bleeding to death. And the boys don't have to worry about that. And I'm going to feel dizzy, and I'm going to feel weak, and I'm going to have to worry about where I go to the toilet, and I'm going to have to worry about how I'm going to manage it depending on how long the race is. Or alternatively, if you're ovulating, that's really bad for me too. I get this horrible cramping pain 2 weeks before, and I'll be running along going, geez, I've got a bad stitch. What the hell is this? And I'll reach down and be like, oh. And because I had twins, I generally ovulate twice within the week. And so it'll go one side and then the other side will go. And for me, sometimes that pain goes for a few hours and it's worse, and it's often when I'm running. And I'll turn to Tash and I'll be like, oh, my God, I'm ovulating. And I just think it's so shit that when you want to have to plan for an endurance race, you also have to plan for this, but you have to be okay with it. But it does feel a little bit unfair because you will be like me. I remember doing the Freycinet Trail Run, which is a 30K trail run, and it was hot, and I had my period and I was right in the middle of it, and I felt dizzy and like I had heat stroke, and it affected me. And some women, I'm not affected by mine very badly, but some women go through horrible pain and hormonal swings, and there's nothing. And what would be worse is if I had a race maybe the 48 hours before you get your period, because I'm a copic and I'm impatient and I'm mean, and that's probably about like maybe half the time to 3/4 of the time, and then you get a period and you're like, oh, okay, I'm not a horrible person. But that was my case for Greenvale. So I got my period the Sunday afternoon after Greenvale, so I still hadn't slept. So I'd been in the hospital that morning. I got discharged from like the emergency department about noon, and because I was in a chair, I didn't have a bed because they were full. I had not slept and I was still awake. So I had not slept since I got up Friday morning and drove to the race start till about 6 o'clock on Sunday night. But on Sunday night, like on Sunday afternoon, I got my period, and I'd been discharged from hospital like hours before, and I just looked down at my body and I was like, are you trying to kill me? Like, what are you doing?
Oh my God.
But then I have since learned that it's the body's way of saying
you're not having a baby right now.
You're not ready for a baby right now. Yeah, so I'm going to bring you a period. So if I don't even want to worry women even more, but if you're doing a multi-day endurance sport, you might get your period early because your body has said, you know what, you're under a lot of physical duress right now. I don't think you should get pregnant. Here's your period. So I think that does need to be acknowledged. I mean, we don't need to ram it down people's throats, but I think it just needs to be acknowledged and talked about because we plan our lives around it. And when you have to do specifically like a swimming sport, but certainly anything involving lycra or running, it's really tough. And so
stay away from white pants.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, exactly. I see you, ladies. So, yeah.
I have had two things. I have always found for me used to have very heavy periods when a couple of times I've looked back and I've won races because I go in the handicap races here. And they've often been shorter distances, like 5 or 6K. We're not talking about like the long endurance ones. And I've gone, and I realised I didn't feel like running at the day because, I had my period, that's crap. And then I crossed the line and I was first, and everybody at the finish line was a male, and I yelled out, you're not going to believe this, but my secret weapon today was my period came, and that's why I won. Because I felt once I'd started running, I felt really strong, and I ran really strong, and
love that.
and I won.
Love that.
So that was embarrassing for them. They couldn't work out where to look, which was hilarious. Yeah. But I've also had somebody on the podcast, I'm just trying to remember her name. I think it's Kate. She's doing PhD or was doing a PhD on almost this exact thing, how well cycles affect how athletic abilities at different times. So
and how you should train with them.
Yeah. It was really quite fascinating what she was doing. That was a couple of years ago. I should try and find. There's going to be a lot of links in your show notes because we've talked about so many things, and I'm like, people might like to know this.
We don't want to not hate our periods because getting your period means that you're laying down new bone. I think that's correct, isn't it? You're laying down.
But I do believe I do believe that is something along those lines because now I am at the other side of that, or I'm supposed to be, but my body's very confused. So my body's in a confused stage, which has its own issues when it comes to running as well.
Your status on your profile, hormonally confused.
Just confused.
Yeah.
Just who the hell am I?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really know. Women got the bad stick of all of that, and it just makes us tougher. That's how I look at it. We're just tougher.
It does. I was just going to say, it makes us our superpower, because I definitely think you're running along adjacent to these men in these longer races, and you're like running along just thinking, you don't even know.
Got no idea.
Actually leading right now. You wouldn't even know. Look, where we're equals running along. So, I mean, I get too worked up about it, but it's just grab onto anything that makes you feel confident and powerful. Just grab onto that, and it doesn't matter if it's running or power walking or Zumba, whatever it may be. Just
get moving.
Grab onto what makes you feel good and go and do it, and go and do it regularly without pressure, and tell yourself good things out loud, because it really does help.
At the end of the podcast, I usually ask the guest athlete, because that's what you are. Everybody I talk to said athlete. For some tips for beginner runners, or some motivating kind of tips for runners. But I feel like you've sprinkled tips through the entire interview. What do you think? Or unless you've got some extra tips you wanted to share that we haven't talked about?
No, I think just to reiterate that life is so short, and do it for yourself and do it for your kids.
Absolutely.
But do it for yourself, and don't feel too much guilt, because we all feel the mum guilt. Mm-hmm. And not even mum guilt if you're just taking time away from partying with friends or drinks with co-workers or things like that. Because I've said no to a lot of those things over the years, because I'm training or I'm racing, and don't feel that guilt, because you got to put yourself first and what's going to make you feel good. And to the mums out there, do it because your children will see it. And my kids are going to turn 11 soon. And both of them just think that what we do is super normal. The distances that we do it's just normal. It's not out of, even now they wouldn't have any sort of inkling that what we, like if we run 80K or 50K, that's just, that's normal, right? Your parents do that.
Yeah. Sure. Look, my 5 kids have grown up with me being thrown out of the car to run the rest of the way home, or leaving home before them, and they'll pick me up, on the way, because I've got to get a little bit more in or something. Fitting it in.
Yeah, you have to fit it in. And if you say you don't have time, speaking as a person who doesn't have time, just you do have time, and you should always have time for your health, because I see people at the other end of the spectrum in hospital. Some people very unlucky, but there's a lot of people that just haven't looked after themselves, and they expect the hospital system to fix them, and we can't a lot of the time. So you need to look after yourself, because nobody else is going to do it.
Radical responsibility for yourself.
Absolutely. Yep. No one else is going to help you get fit. It's nobody else's fault that you don't have time. You need to be harsh on yourself and tell yourself, I can find the time to do this. I will make the time.
It's I do my planning. I'm looking over at my whiteboard while we're talking. I do that on a Sunday. It's just got the calendar up there, and the first thing that goes up there is what my coach has set me, and then my meetings, and then anything else. And so I prioritize when my runs go in, or my training, or if I've got to do some strength work or whatever. It goes in the calendar first, and then other things go around it.
Yeah, and if you get funk, just put on your favorite music, put on the clothes that make you feel good, and it doesn't matter what. Just tell yourself you're going to go out the door, and you don't have to go for any sort. Just get out the door, and that will be the start. That's often enough. Once you're out there, your brain and your body will remember what it used to do. So, and be kind to yourself. And I say that to Holly a lot, because she is a professional athlete, and she's very harsh on herself, so that she can obtain the huge goals that she does. But she and all of us need to give ourselves grace and be kind to yourself, because if you start bringing yourself down, oh man, you're really on the back foot then. So positive thoughts, people, and tell yourself them, whatever it may be.
Your biggest cheer squad. your own cheers.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Be your own best friend first, and then you can be everybody else's best friend.
It's exactly like that aeroplane thing where you put your mask on your own face before you give it to anybody else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you can keep being amazing you. Like you, Mel, you can keep being an amazing mum, an amazing wife, and an amazing blueberry farm owner, and an amazing nurse, and an amazing runner.
Yeah. And be your own best friend first. I know that sounds very weird and we haven't been brought up to probably be that way, but be your own best friend first, because you're stuck with yourself for the rest of your life. So
exactly.
if you make friends with yourself first, then other people will see that light and sort of come along for the ride.
And they want to be your friend. The next thing you know, you'll be running around a backyard ultra and Mel will be talking to you about her chickens and her blueberries.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Sorry, not sorry to everybody out there.
You should not be sorry. It's amazing. Well, Mel, been a delight. Looking forward to running into you in the supermarket and around, because we shared the same supermarket. Although I'm not sure if we've seen each other in the supermarket, which is the weirdest thing. At least not that we've acknowledged.
We will now.
We will now.
All the time.
Yeah, I know all the time. And then, of course, if you come and do the Melbourne Front Yard Ultra, I shall see you there also, and many other places. But thank you for sharing your inspirational story. Congratulations again on your awesome run at the Backyard Ultra and the Greenvale Backyard Ultra. You're an amazing athlete and an amazing human as well. So thank you so much. I've got 1,000 links to all the things you put in the show notes. So thank you.
All right, guys. Excellent. All right. We'll have a wonderful 2026.
Thanks for tuning in to the ZenRUN Podcast. I hope today's chat left you feeling just a little more inspired to move in your way and on your terms. If you've got a running story you'd love to share, please reach out. I'm always looking for real, relatable stories that help remind us we're not alone, whether it's a big goal, a quiet win, or simply why you keep showing up. I'd love to hear it and I'd love to share it. Plus, if you're curious about the ZenRUN Club, come take a look. It's a low-key space with guided runs, simple training plans, and monthly challenges to help keep your running fun, motivating, and totally stress-free. Until next time, keep running, keep breathing, and keep showing up for yourself.